You never know.
Never know. Haas. It seems like Haas might be there. Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Travels with the Creative Contessa. I am the Creative Contessa, and I have two fantastic guests today for our cruising craziness episode, which might become a weekly or at least repeat episode because there's always something crazy going on with passengers in the cruising world. So, between I've experienced cruising craziness from the passenger side, observing the weird shit for which my fellow passengers make requests, and both of you have combined more than how many decades? 4 decades combined in the cruising industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, you make me feel really old saying that, putting it
Look,
that way.
look. Every time I say, "Yeah, I've been traveling for 40 years," because the first big trip I took was when I was 5. I'm like, how did I get to be this age? Um,
Yeah, and like I was a Navy brat, so traveling was just something you did.
yep, yep.
Like I
I
didn't
was,
know it was so complicated when I was that little.
yeah. That's my husband. He's a military brat, and then 20 years himself. So he's never lived. The longest he's ever lived in one place was what he calls the stupid in between time when he refused to join the military as a teenage, as an 18-year-old because he wasn't going to do what his father and grandfather did, and he struggled in Seattle for 10 years to make ends meet with 2 to 4 jobs, and then eventually gave up and joined the army. So
Yep.
yeah, he's also, his view of travel is different than my view of travel because I am the reverse. I lived in the same place, well, the same state anyway, for 22 years. So
That's so
yeah.
deep.
hmm
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourselves. What is your respective experience? What is bringing you here to our cruising craziness live stream?
So I started working for the cruise company that I do. I'm not going to name names because
No, no.
I don't want to get in trouble or anything. Um, in 2003. So it was not long after 9/11, and they were still dealing with a lot of the after effects of that, actually.
Ah,
Um,
right.
and I started off in reservations, and I feel like after this long of a time, I've blocked most of the things that my memory has like come across and the really weird things that have happened.
Right.
But worked from reservations, worked up to the like extended cruise desk where you deal with like the world cruises and the
Right.
like 60 something day cruises and all the really special type passengers that need the extra hand holding. And then from there, God, I want to say 15 years ago now,
Mhm.
I moved to the operations side of things where I mostly work with travel agencies and getting them set up in our system. And I don't talk to people anymore, and I could not be more grateful.
Right. Yeah, people are the worst. And people who feel that they're entitled to something are absolutely the worst. You know,
Yes,
there's
and that can
there's
come
there's
from any walk of life.
oh yeah, no, no, no. This is not specific to the cruise world. This
Yeah.
is general observation, right? Yeah. Okay, so Suji, what about you?
um, I joined the company, same company actually. She's the one who got me the job uh, in 2006, and I bounced around a little bit. Again, started in reservations, ended up in the extended cruises. In between, I did the email team.
Oh boy.
So any emails that came in directly into the reservation side of things.
I
Oh
forgot
my.
about the email team.
Oh,
Shit.
oh my God.
Sorry. I don't
I
even
am.
know if I can curse.
Uh,
um, and then also the operations side of things. We've kind of
mm,
followed a similar path.
Hmm.
She's been to certain areas before me, and I've been to certain areas before her. I've been in the role I'm in now, I've been in over 15 years.
nice. Nice.
And that's frightening to think about. I was so young when I joined the company. I had been out of high school for or college, yeah, high school and college for 2 years, and yeah, just been with the company ever since. Heard a lot
Yeah,
of
that's
weird stuff.
that's that's kind of crazy to be with the same company, basically like the same parent company at any rate for that long. That's amazing.
Yeah, talking to
I
our
have
friends, we're kind of unique in that regard.
that is so old fashioned. It's charming, right? That is this is so 1960s. It's like, yeah,
Dude,
I've
I've
been a
got
company,
tenure. I'm staying. I'm super glued to this place.
right? Like,
Grandfathered into the old
Yeah,
vacation
grandfathered into the
schedules
old
and stuff.
vacation
the
system, the old sick
the old
time system. It
pension
was
system.
no,
Yeah.
sadly, no pension.
No,
But
no pension. God,
no, just missed that one.
God, that's
Um,
unfortunate. God.
but yeah, no, we get like crazy amount of vacation time, which ironically we don't take to cruise.
Wait, yeah, why not? Why wouldn't you want to
FA
participate in this
events, that's
style of
why.
vacation? Oh, okay. I thought it was because you didn't want to meet the people you'd been dealing with on the
Oh no, you
phone.
don't tell anybody on board that you work for the company. That's
Oh
like
no,
suicide.
no, 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 no. God, I can't even imagine the way, we started our cruising journey. Actually, my interest in cruising started when I was a little girl because I've always liked playing dress up. I've always liked putting on pretty dresses and pretending olden times or princess or warrior princess or whatever, but wearing pretty clothes. Always been a thing for me. And so my friends, one of my best friends, their family, this was in the 80s. So this was old school cruising, right? Old school. They went on this cruise and they came back and I was, I went to this cruise party with her as a playmate because it was a party for all the people who had gone on this travel group, a kind of post cruise reunion kind of thing. And I was there basically to keep Sarah occupied because we were like 7. And what ended up happening is I ended up watching the slideshow. And this was slides, like
Gosh.
actual slides
Yeah.
in an actual projector where you click a button and it switches to the next slide. Like, this is how old school this was. But I remember seeing all the beautiful clothes everyone got to wear on this voyage, all the beautiful frocks and the men in these really sexy tuxedos, right? It was just so great. And I looked around the way people were dressed at that moment and thought, well, why don't we always dress that way? So
Right.
so that was my first interest in it. And then I got into living history and I got into vintage. And then I discovered this cruise line called Cunard, which, back then it was the QE2.
Yes.
That was it. That was the last ship, basically, by the time I figured out that Cunard was a thing. And that was about the time that Queen Mary 2 was launched. And I remember that was when I was in university. Of course, I couldn't afford any of that, but I remember seeing the photographs of the glamour and this beautiful vintage interiors, just really stepping back to like the 20s through the 40s and that beautiful aesthetic. And I said to myself, that's my kind of vacation. So unfortunately, what I didn't realize is that wasn't really cruising anymore in general, right? That was Cunard only. Like, most other cruise lines had moved on from formal nights by the time I started cruising. It was very casual. There was no more dancing for the most part. There was nightclubs. There was, it was basically like a resort, but at sea. So
Yeah.
it took me until 2010 to figure out that it was only Cunard that still had a ballroom with a dance orchestra and still had some kind of dress code and still had a vintage feel to it. So that's kind of where I stuck. So I've only ever really cruised with Celebrity, were my first 2 cruises, and then Cunard ever since then. But I've, God knows, read a lot of blogs and seen a lot of videos and documentaries on all the other cruise lines. And passengers generally seem to kind of be the same across all of those cruise lines.
It does seem to be a certain kind of like people don't necessarily fall into cruising. I've noticed like it's either a generational thing, like their family has always cruised, or someone like whose family always cruised brought somebody else on a cruise and that got them hooked. Um, it's yeah, it's definitely like people don't automatically think of cruising.
Right. Right. Yeah. No. And you know, the thing is that cruising has a very curious reputation amongst people who haven't tried it. It has this reputation as being a very dull sort of vacation. Like all you
Yeah.
do is sit around on a deck chair watching the ocean go by, and that's it. And honestly, a sea day on a cruise is one of the busiest kind of vacation days that you could possibly have if you actually do all the things that are offered in any given. And you know, if you look at the schedule for a sea day, there's like 10 things happening every hour.
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. No, they want to care. They want to cater to as many people as they can. You know, since they've essentially got a trapped audience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I remember the one time we did take a cruise. The sea day that we took, there was a trivia game that we went to. There was a movie night that we went to. There was a live show. Or did we go to the live show? I don't remember now.
I know we went and saw the show at least a couple of times. I'm not sure if it was that
Yeah.
day.
Granted, I'm also not remembering if it was that particular trip or if it was just one of the times that they take all the employees and put them on the ship and let them see it.
Right.
Both.
Right.
I mean, probably both, because you know my ADHD. Um, but yeah, no, there's always something going on. Like, if you can't find something to do, you're not looking in the right places.
You're not trying at all. Like literally,
Yeah,
you must be sitting in a dark room with your eyes closed
yeah.
because,
Which I mean, you
yeah,
can do that as well, especially if you've got like an inside cabin or
absolutely.
something. You know, easy peasy.
Absolutely. If that's your preference, you can do it.
Yes.
So in our time, Ryan and I were talking this morning, reminiscing, shall we say, about some of the crazy things we have heard and seen. And so I thought I would kick it off with one of our anecdotes and see what that triggers for you. So, you know, frequently at the beginning of a cruise, we go to the purser's desk, which for those who don't know, that's like the reception of the hotel function of the cruise ship. That's where you go if your key card doesn't work, if there's something wrong with your bill. Honestly, if you have any issue, go to the purser's desk and they will figure out where to direct you. So we always go there on the first day just in case there are any upgrades that are available. Not free upgrades, mind you. We understand it would be paid, but if there are any last minute upgrades for a, you know, at a good price. There never are these days, by the way. Cruise companies have gotten very good at not sailing empty or partially empty. They've gotten really good at managing their reservations, but that's usually where we hear some of the craziest things being uttered by passengers. It's on the first day before you even sail away from port. And one of the crazier things I remember is there was a couple there who had brought their own silverware with them, but silverware, knives in particular, you're not allowed to bring knives onto most cruise ships. It's considered a safety hazard. Now, let's not get into the idea that it would be easy to take the knife from the carving station if you really wanted to cause some chaos, but whatever. You're not allowed to bring knives onto any cruise ship I've ever been on, and they will confiscate them. And they were trying to get their silverware returned to them for the duration of the voyage because they were claiming that the lady of the couple could not hold the ship's silverware, any of the ship's silverware. She just couldn't use it. Now, I I don't know. She didn't look arthritic to me. They weren't even claiming that. They weren't even saying, you know, because of her arthritis. They just said she can't hold the silverware. I'm like, 4-year-olds can hold silverware that adults can use. Why is it you can't hold the silverware?
That's a new one. That is definitely a new one.
She needed her own silverware. God damn. And this was back when Cunard would just confiscate the things and hold them for you. But now everyone needs to know this is increasingly the case across the cruising industry. If you bring contraband, that's something that's not allowed on the ship, and they confiscate it, they won't hold it for you anymore. They will dispose of it because they don't have the facilities apparently to hold the increasing numbers of contraband items that are being brought on board by guests. So if you bring that pair of sewing shears, the Ginger sewing shears that you brought to be able to work on medieval clothing during the creation of your voyage. And they tell you, no, those blade is too long. You can bring blades on, but they have to be under a certain length.
Yeah.
They will no longer hold them for you. They will just throw them away. So my Ginger shears with the nice porcelain handles, enameled handles, got thrown away in 2022.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
Yeah, that was heartbreaking. In retrospect, this was at Southampton. I should have just taken them, wrapped them up, and hidden them someplace at Southampton. Southampton's a massive port. There are plenty of little nooks and crannies I could have found where no one ever goes, and just gotten them at the end of the voyage. But I was so upset that I was so sad. I wasn't angry. I was sad.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I didn't blame the security staff. I didn't, there was no anger. I was kicking myself for having forgotten about it because I'd forgotten that was the blade length was an issue. So that was on me. My fault, not the cruise line's fault. Was my fault for not getting past my own sadness of losing my vintage pair of Ginger shears and thinking about ways to actually not have them disposed of. That's on me. Cautionary tale for everyone. You check out the contraband list. All cruise lines have them, and they're not all the same. So
yeah, I was going to say they're all a little bit different too. So
yeah, you have to check them out.
Like sister companies, they can be different.
Yeah. We ended up on that voyage. We ended up getting a pair of suitably lengthed scissors from a fabric store in Madeira. So, now I have these specifically lengthed scissors that are like a useful souvenir from an island off the coast of Africa, basically.
There you go. And they allowed those ones on ship.
They did. They were. I asked what the length was, and they said they can only be. They have to be short. The blade part has to be shorter than 4 inches, and that includes that if you take the screw out and you have them as 2 separate blades, you have to count any length that goes into the screwed part because that's how they're measuring it. So
it's not based on how long it's sharpened for. It's based on how interesting.
Yeah. And if any of that sharpness goes into the screw area, which it usually kind of does, that counts towards it. So you can't count, Yeah. It is what it is. I learned the hard way, and I've never made that mistake again.
Exactly. Sometimes it takes learning the hard way to get that embedded into your brain.
Yeah. And I've always found that as a customer, it's very important to treat customer-facing people with kindness, courtesy, respect, and compassion. Usually the problem that I as a passenger might have is not the responsibility or within the jurisdiction of the person who's actually facing me in the moment. They're not the ones who made the rules about the scissor blades. They're not the ones who said you can't bring your silverware on board. So I get really upset when I get angry actually when I see passengers behaving rudely towards customer service personnel. Just really, it makes me want to smack people, and I'm not usually a violent person.
It's one thing that I'm very glad to not be on phones anymore, because you would get the people just right off the bat as soon as you say hello. Sometimes even before you finish doing your spiel, they would just lay into you like nobody's business.
Right.
And it can throw off everything, and you're just shell shocked almost sometimes for the rest of the day. But thankfully, those kind of people are not super common. So it's not like when I worked in res, I would maybe get one every couple of weeks. The unfortunate thing is they were usually horrible enough that you remember them the entire couple of weeks until your next one.
Yeah, they get headspace. I mean, it's the old-fashioned equivalent of negative comments under videos, right? That one really nasty interaction it lays an egg in your brain, and that egg just goes bad, right? I empathize with that 100%.
My very first call after training, first call on the floor, was an irate passenger.
And what was their issue? Do you recall what the issue was?
I don't remember exactly what it was because This was 20 years ago.
Right. Sure.
Oh, he just needs
Oh,
to reset.
sorry about that. My computer decided to blink.
Yeah, it happens. There's gremlins everywhere. It's fine.
I blame the cat in my lap.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
They were angry about something. They wanted to change something on their booking, and
Right.
they were booked through a travel agent.
No,
Yeah.
sorry. The second,
Yep.
it's what I'm always telling people. It's the same thing with airline tickets. This is something most people don't realize, that when you use an agent or a third party booking website, which is basically a travel agent,
Yes.
right? The second you do that, everything about your booking becomes the responsibility of your agent, right? It's you can't, like, this recent war in Iran, this ridiculous nonsense that we started in Iran. All those flights that were grounded immediately, the airspace was closed down in the Middle East, and hundreds of thousands of people were stranded. And unfortunately, many of them, tens of thousands of them, if not more, booked through Agoda or Apodo or Expedia or Booking.com. And so they would call the airline about getting their flight rebooked to a partner airline. And Etihad, Emirates, et cetera, would look at their reservation and say, sorry, you booked through Expedia, you need to call them.
Yep.
They're the ones who will have to handle rebooking you. Well, guess who was not handling rebookings for their passengers?
Expedia.
So, yeah, I mean, and actually, I shouldn't say it. I don't know if it was Expedia, but it was mixed, right? There were some of these third-party booking platforms that actually went to bat and really tried to get people rebooked. And there were others where their systems collapsed because they didn't have that kind of customer service capability. And so lots of people just ended up having to book last minute tickets on other airlines out of their own pockets and hope that they could maybe get reimbursed, but many of them haven't.
So the thing with a lot of the bigger name agencies, and the cat's name, by the way, is AG.
AG.
And the thing with a lot of the big name agencies is that they are actually, how do I word this? They're comprised of franchises.
Right.
And so some franchises are going to be way more on the ball about it than others.
Yeah.
And I mean, that can be said, like, one McDonald's in the town is great and the other McDonald's in the town is terrible.
Right.
Same sort of thing. It's all dependent on who is running that particular office.
Yeah.
Like, the upside to it, when you have a travel agent who is on the ball and does know what they're doing, is oftentimes they will know what's going on with the situation before you even find out about it, and they're contacting you going, we have these options here, and here. I've got it taken care of. Just tell me which one you want and we're done.
Yeah, the good ones. Yeah, I mean, I've heard stories about travel agents, like cruise agents specifically, who really are like, before their news has even gotten out about an issue, they're already fixing things, and that is the value of a good travel agent or a good cruise agent.
Yes.
Right, but the key is always, as you say, finding a good one, and not just someone who's phoning it in, to utilize an old-fashioned expression.
It's like anything, what's the word I'm looking for? Vet your, person. Like, go in there, see what the feel is. If they seem to be on the ball about things, then go with your gut. If things seem a little screwy, then try somebody else.
Yeah, and usually you can get almost, especially if I know people these days don't want to hear this, but if you make a phone call and you actually talk to the agent, you can get a feel for how proactive they are, because that's what you want. You want proactivity. You want someone who's going to go and earn their commission, basically.
Yep.
And
one thing
that's
too
not
is
easy.
that you're not going to pay. Well, in most cases, you're not going to pay more by going through a travel agency.
Right. Yeah.
Oftentimes, you will get additional, like, they'll have like bonuses depending on how big the travel agency is. They can get you, like, all sorts of different things, and it's a matter of just calling around to see what the different ones have and what they can offer.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But
you have to shop around.
Yeah, exactly. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, there you go. You have to shop around. Yeah.
But the great thing is that they can take care of visas for you. They can take care of, like, give you the list of, like, inoculations that you need before traveling.
Right.
and the cruise lines do send those out, but sometimes they're not the most obvious. Like,
Yeah.
there's a certain amount of common sense with the things that get sent out, and common sense is a flippin' superpower nowadays. So having
Jesus, is it?
a travel agent who can translate things into whatever sense their client uses is great.
Yeah, yeah. So we had a question here in terms of requests. Have either of you ever had exotic requests for wine or champagne? Like in advance of the cruise, did someone call and say, I'd like, in this case, it was Chateau Lafite Rothschild or Chateau Mouton Rothschild, Rothschild. I guess that's pronounced Rothschild in modern English instead of the German way. Yeah, but in general, have you ever gotten like exotic, expensive alcohol requests that it'd be ready in the cabin or something like that?
Not in where I've worked.
Mhm.
There was a specific department in our company where those kind of requests would go to. And
Right.
so if somebody came up with that and be like, oh, let me transfer you to someone who can actually answer that question.
Nice.
You used to work helping their emails, though.
I did help them for a while. It was before reservations, the training started, and
Right.
they hired me anyway. But it was 2 months before the reservations class was going to be, and
Oh,
so I was basically an intern with that department, and I handled all of the physical checks that they received. That's how long ago this was.
oh my God. Checks
Uh-huh.
with a piece of
Mhm.
paper.
Actual
Wow.
physical checks.
Wow. Wow.
And
They would mail them in.
yeah.
Wow. Mail.
So
Mail a
yeah,
check. The check's in the mail. Wow.
I was basically the intern that opened all of the envelopes.
Wow.
You were
Um,
Fantastic.
inputting some of the stuff, too, so you got to see some of the
mm,
weird.
a little bit, very, very little. I could only do the ones that were already paid by credit card. I couldn't actually do the ones with checks. I had to file those for the actual employees to take care of.
To
But
physically file a paper check.
I know,
Oh,
right? We
oh,
had the
God.
hanging files and everything, and you'd put them in by travel agency.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. God. So what kind of let's talk about some of the crazy things you have heard on the phone and in your time.
Well, I mean, going along with the crazy orders, I've not seen any for specific alcohol, but
Right.
we did have one extremely entitled lady who we have multiple stories about.
Oh, good. Oh, well, we can talk about her. I mean, we can focus on one character in this panoply of performers. I'm happy to do that.
She was doing, I don't remember why she came to our department, why she came to the extended cruise and specialty area. I think she might have been using some kind of gift certificate or something on her cruise.
There was one time where she was using a certificate, yes, and we
Okay.
handled certificate bookings.
Yeah.
That was one of the times.
Um, but I remember her calling in, and she'd call to our team,
Oh
and
God.
we would contact the lead agent, so like the manager of that other department, to be like, so and so is on the line with questions about this thing again. Apparently, it was, I need this specific kind of orange juice that is fiber orange juice, and
Oh
I
God.
I mailed in my washed carton, and I have not heard from the agent in that department who's been helping me, and I need her to get in contact with me right now.
Mailed in.
If you're not going to transfer me to her, then just don't transfer me at all.
I mailed in an empty carton so that you'll know my special kind of orange. Wow. That is next level. That is I can't even I I can only imagine what it was like to be the person in the mailroom who received this package. I can only imagine the kind of handwritten note that was probably inside and the kind of
Well,
language it probably contained.
and the mailroom wouldn't have opened it because it would have listed what department to send it to. But because it
God.
was also company care of X department or something like that. So
Oh my God. Oh my God. I mailed
Yeah.
in an empty carton. So this
I
lady thought that that if she mailed this carton and that the cruise line would supply her, this one person, with this specialty. I remember that kind of orange juice, by the way. I remember that fiber, the orange juice that had extra fiber because Americans' diets are shit. And so instead of eating more vegetables that they should be eating, they just try to fake it by putting, anyway. I
Well, it's not
remember
like
that
orange
orange
juice isn't
juice.
full of fiber to begin with, especially if it's got all the pulp.
Yeah, I mean, if no one wants that, right? They want the pulp taken out, but then they want the secret fiber added back in.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ! She thought that her honestly probably relatively measly cruise fare relative to the cost of operating that ship would entitle her to
Oh, and she had a
specialty orange
certificate. She
juice.
was paying like nothing. She was barely even paying taxes.
But she was charged for the case of orange juice to have on board.
Yes. But the funny thing with that is that she got around to speaking with basically every single person in our department at the time. And with every single one of them, she would complain about the orange juice and have this whole spiel about, I'm a diabetic. You have to make all these accommodations for me because I could die. You don't understand.
Oh my
And like,
God.
yes, that is very serious, but
Yeah,
you are
no,
not
it
the only
is.
person on the ship who is a diabetic. I can guarantee
Right?
you.
No. I mean,
That's not even the worst story about her.
I mean, I will say that on Cunard, and I'm pretty certain that other brands in Carnival Corp are probably similar. I've always been impressed at how they do bend over backwards when possible to accommodate dietary needs. Like there's now, if you are gluten sensitive or gluten intolerant, not celiac, they'll tell you celiac is really hard for them to accommodate because that's really serious. But they will bend over backwards to make special gluten-free meals for you. They have on the buffets, they've got low sugar, lactose-free, non-dairy options. They really do try to accommodate vegetarian, vegan options. They really try to accommodate a variety of dietary restrictions, but it's impossible to accommodate all of them. I mean, it's just not.
It's one thing too, like there is ways now where if you tell the cruise line that you have a specific allergy, they will do everything they can to avoid that particular allergy. Like I have a really strange allergy that I'm allergic to agave, which isn't used a whole lot anymore, but man, was it in like the mid, 2000s, 2010s.
Right.
And it's still kind of used, especially for like cocktails. And so I remember when we were on the one cruise that we did, I mentioned that to the, oh God, I don't remember what the term is, the bartender that we were sitting at the bar with.
Right.
And suddenly everyone on the cruise was like, this doesn't have agave in it. You're okay. This doesn't have agave in it. You're okay.
Oh my God.
And I think that's great. Like, you tell one person, they make a note of it, and so everyone knows that you can't have this and it's okay.
Right.
So,
Oh,
like, they do everything they can.
they really
And,
do.
yeah.
Oh my God. So Ryan's looking at me. Yes, Hanson. Oh, okay. He's just distracting me. Okay. So other crazy. So that lady seems to have been a frequent cruiser, is what it sounds like.
At least
up
once a
until
year.
a certain point when we suddenly never heard from her again. And
Right.
it may be after this particular issue. There was a call that I actually got, and as soon as she said who she was, I just absolutely almost groaned out loud, and it took everything in me to not.
Oh my God.
And we had I think at that point we had the in-team message system, so I sent a message to the team of, I've got her. It's this lady. And she just started going off about this cruise that she had just gotten off of, where she'd started in New York, and she wanted me to pass on complaints about all the New Jersey trash that was in the pool, and she couldn't swim her laps, and because she's diabetic, she's got to swim her laps. But she couldn't swim her laps because of all the New Jersey trash that was in the pool with their babies and their diapers, and they were destroying the pool. And I'm like, they don't let them do that, and I'm sure that's not actually an issue, but I couldn't actually say any of that.
Oh my
Let alone
God.
the New Jersey trash.
The New
part.
Jersey
New
trash.
trash.
I assume she must have interviewed all of those people to ascertain that they were from New Jersey. Obviously, like, I mean,
Well, because it
completely
wasn't a problem
objective.
before they stopped in New Jersey. Never mind the fact that the cruise does not actually stop in New Jersey.
I mean, there is a cruise port there. Bayona's there, but they don't. I mean,
It's not one that our cruise line has ever used.
right? There is a port there.
But,
I mean, I will admit, I'm from Delaware, so that's my lots of my family is actually from New Jersey. You can usually tell New Jerseyans by their accents. There's different accents, but they're all pretty distinctive. However, what the hell? New Jersey trash.
Right? No, it was definitely just oh my God. Did that actually just come out of your mouth to another human being?
So how did you respond to that? Because obviously your instinct is to tell her to shut up and hang up, or just to hang up, but you can't do that, right? You're literally not allowed to do that. So how were you trained to respond to that kind of thing?
So a lot of the times you just have to be like, I'm sorry that, you experienced that. That is unfortunate. Did you speak to these people? No? Okay, well then here's the number for our guest relations department, and here's their email address. They would be the best people to speak with about, your concerns and everything. And you just, if they don't stop after that, you just kind of let them go, like just do their rant. I do remember at one point in time, and this was granted when my boss was not around, but our lead was like, yeah, just go ahead and do it. I took my headset off and just walked away. And I came back and they were still ranting.
Wow.
And at that point, my lead was just like, yeah, just go ahead and hang up. I don't even think they're going to notice.
Right. I mean, maybe when they hear the dial tone again, they'll notice. But, oh my God.
But yeah, it was. I don't think it was that particular case. I think she was very, okay, thank you. I will contact them. Like, she was so unused to somebody actually giving her what she wanted. I guess that's what she needed.
I guess she is unfamiliar with the concept of passing the buck.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, which worked in my favor.
Right, absolutely. Thank God. Yeah. She didn't realize that she was the buck. She was being passed.
Yeah. But yeah, after that, I don't remember if any of us got her on the phones again.
That was when they started blacklisting a lot of people, if I remember correctly. So she might have been on a list.
Great.
So do you think she was actually blocked from cruising altogether on that line, or just from making calls?
I wouldn't be surprised if she was, especially at that point in time. I know there was a lot of abusive customers that they were weeding out.
They were weeding out some abusive agencies too.
Mm-hmm. Because if we were being attacked on the phone after her cruise, the front desk was getting earful every
Oh God.
day.
Yeah, the purser's desk, you mean, on during the voyage? Yeah, I can't even.
The purser's desk, the steward, the cruise director, everybody probably.
Oh my God. Yeah, Jesus. I recently saw in the news, I'm on a couple of different cruise fora, and there were some passengers, 2 ladies were apparently just ejected from a Cunard cruise and banned from ever cruising again. This was a couple of weeks ago, because they got into a physical altercation in the laundrette, in the laundry room. And one of them, there's the laundry rooms, man, they are a flashpoint of real serious cruise violence, because people fight over the washing machines and they fight over the dryers. And, God forbid that if you leave your laundry in the dryer and don't come back in time, someone will justifiably, in my opinion, take it out and put it in a laundry basket so they can use the dryer. Well, you shouldn't touch other people's laundry. Well, maybe you shouldn't walk away from the dryer then, huh?
Right?
And as someone who has lived in a dorm, I'm just glad they put it in a laundry basket and not just in a puddle on the floor.
Exactly, right? I mean, and there are baskets there for that purpose, like amongst other purposes. But apparently, an altercation between two wives of 2 different couples, and it involved one of them hitting the other with the iron. with the iron that was in the laundrette in the head.
Oh my goodness gracious.
They put them off at the next port.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even at the next port they were put off, lifetime ban.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Justifiably. Justifiably.
absolutely.
There is nothing that happens in a laundry room unless it's mafia action related that should result in physical altercations. There is nothing important enough in a laundry room for that. There just isn't. Because if your garments are so expensive that someone touching them might result in some kind of damage, you probably shouldn't be putting them in the ship's public laundrette. You should send them to professional cleaners, you know.
Right? Like they have on most cruise ships.
Mm-hmm.
Weirdly enough.
Yeah, it's really interesting how few people know about that service. Like they don't even, because most people don't actually go through their entire cabins when they embark and see all the little notes and bits of information that have been left here and there. So I'm always shocked at the number of multi-cruisers who don't realize there's a cleaning service on board that will do dry cleaning, or will do sometimes not dry cleaning, but special wet cleaning, like for garments like this, pressing, regular laundry, all the things. And actually, honestly, the prices are really good.
Yeah, they're definitely not bad.
They're cheaper than going to, okay, I'm in Korea, so that's a bad comparison, but in the US, it's cheaper than having the same services done at a landside, land-based laundry service, right? I'm always shocked by that. We actually often have all of our things cleaned like the 2 days before we disembark, so that it's all nice and clean when we get home and we don't have to worry about it.
Absolutely. And I think it's kind of a mentality that a lot of people have, mostly because most people's experiences are with hotels.
Yeah.
And so they automatically assume that a cruise line is going to be just like a hotel and it's all just going to be outrageously expensive. And it's like, no.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, we did too. Yeah. We assumed for my first 2 cruises back in my 20s, it never occurred to me. I really, in my mind, no, that's going to be a service that's too expensive. I'm not even going to think about it.
Yeah.
My mistake.
And like, especially working as we both did for the specialty cruise department, when you're gone for like, what was it, 4 months, 6 months was one of the cruises or something like that, redonkulously long. You can't pack for that. You can't pack an outfit every day for 6 months.
Oh, but wait for it. So we have participated in short segments of several world cruises on Queen Mary, actually. And on one of them from Hong Kong to Dubai, we actually encountered an American traveler. She was in an inside cabin. She had brought 12 suitcases with her.
Oh, yeah, no, that doesn't surprise me.
And she was first off, to do a world cruise, even in an inside cabin on Queen Mary too, you have to have a lot of money to start with. Yeah. So she was a shopaholic, and in every port she went and bought more clothes. Her cabin was a hoarder's cabin. The bed was cocooned in clothing hanging from magnetic hooks on the walls and the ceiling. It was unbelievable.
Strong magnets.
Yes, so we have some that you can get, like 32 kilogram magnetic hooks, by the way, which is one of our tips for having extra closet space if you need extra hanging space. Or like me, we dance, and get really sweaty from all that dancing, and so the gowns kind of need to dry out before you put them in the closet, kind of thing. But yeah, you can get 32 kilogram magnetic hooks. They are.
I think I forget that those exist because I usually have so many electronics around me that I don't necessarily want that.
Yeah. We keep them very carefully segregated from the electronics. But this lady, I couldn't believe it, and she actually had to buy more luggage for all the things she had bought. She was very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah. They're, one of the things they offered at least one of the years that I remember, one of the incentives to book on the long cruise was free laundry service.
Right.
If you booked a like X number of months early or something like that. But yeah, a lot of people don't really. A lot of people. This is a one that totally gets me. A lot of people don't realize that the food's all free.
Right.
Except
Well,
for
it used to
very,
be.
very specific cases.
It used to be. So this is it's like it's decreasingly free depending on your cruise line. So Cunard last year, a year ago, almost to the day, but not quite. It was at the end of May. They announced that overnight room service would go from being complimentary to a la carte for all meals outside of breakfast. And so anyone whose voyage started the next day, no matter when they had booked and under what terms they had booked, they would have to start paying for room service. And that caused a big stink amongst Cunarders. Yeah. And then they started like rolling it. Yeah, then they started because there were so many complaints and people saying, yeah, we're never cruising with you again. We booked this thing 3 years ago. You promised us free room service. So then apparently over the last year, people have been going to them and getting like extra onboard credit to compensate for that change, or getting their room service charges waived because they booked under the old terms, and Cunard started relenting because they realized that that was dirty pool, in fact.
Major dirty pool.
It was technically and legally in line with the terms of booking. So it wasn't possible they were going to get sued, really, because they could always get it tossed out on these are the terms of booking. But they realized that it was a PR nightmare.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
It was a PR nightmare. I don't know what idiot advised them to make that change. I don't. Like, I can understand. Cruising is getting more expensive. The cost. I don't mean the fares. I mean costs are going up. Inflation is a thing. Fuel is getting more expensive. Food, fresh produce is getting more expensive. Everything's getting more expensive. I get that. But people are not necessarily willing to actually pay an increased fare to get on board. So what cruise lines have been doing over the last 2 decades, honestly, is they haven't really been raising their cruise fares in line with inflation. Instead, they've been increasingly offering extra services offerings on board that do cost money. And so what is being included in your fare, depending on your cruise line, is actually less and less. So, now on Cunard, for instance, the main dining room is still included in the cost of your fare, but there's lots of a la carte options that are not.
That's how it is with our cruise line. Like, there is, and granted, it's been so long since I've done actual reservation stuff, I don't know the actual details about how many restaurants are on each one that are extra.
Right.
As opposed to ones that are just special that you have to make a separate reservation for. I know on each one there's at least one that is actually a cost more, and it's super, super premium, like steakhouse type.
Right. Yeah.
Restaurant. And that makes sense because steakhouse.
Expensive red meat. Yep.
Which ironically, the time I went, I got black miso cod. But
I mean, when I go, the Cunard has the Veranda, it's called, which is their steakhouse. And whenever I go, actually I do get beef, but it's the beef ribs. Like steak, boring. The most boring cut of meat in the world is a steak, honestly, to me. Ribs, though, with all that connective tissue and the succulent nature of after it's been slow smoked, oh, so yummy. But yeah, steaks have never been my thing, except I finally got a steak in Florence, the Florentine style steak. If you've ever had steak in Florence, it is not like it is anywhere else in the world. Nice. You will not get in Florence, though. Do not go there expecting that they will cook your steak anything but medium rare.
Oh, I like my red meat still mooing. So
right.
That's
great. Perfect. You're
on board.
I'm
also an Italian at heart. Like, my mother's family is from northern Italy. My father's family is from Sicily. So I meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. Well, that's Florence. If you talk to Florentines, they don't consider themselves to be northern Italy. It's really funny.
Beef Wellington's also a really good one. But yeah, it's one of those things, like, people don't expect there to be a buffet, and a lot of cruise lines are cutting back on buffets because they've got so many other food offerings available now. But no, room service Dude, I think we lived on the midnight room service when we did our cruise. Like when we got
Yeah.
off our cruise, like I remember Soji looked over at me, he's like, "Can I order room service for cookies?"
Room service for cookies.
That's what he would get. He would
At
at midnight
midnight,
he
I'd
would
get
call
milk
for
and
hot
Yeah,
cookies.
absolutely.
cookies.
100%. 100%.
Like I would get my adult Lunchables, and he would get his chocolate chip cookies. And
Yeah.
adult Lunchables is what I call a charcuterie platter because I have a hard time saying charcuterie. So I just call them adult Lunchables.
It is, you're not wrong. It is actually like sophisticated Lunchables. You're 100% correct. I never looked at it that way, but you're right, actually. It's like if Lunchables were made from quality ingredients, that would be a charcuterie platter. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But apparently, a lot of cruise lines have now been rolling back the complimentary room service. So Cunard was just kind of following in the trail of other cruise lines and their attempts to boost their revenues by, basically offering an almost completely basic fare. Like now you get basic economy on a flight. So now you have these very basic cruise fares. Oh, that was a new thing on one of our recent, I think it was either this last one we took in October or October 2024. They started charging for the shuttles that get you from the ship to the edge of the port. I don't mean a shuttle that takes you to the airport. I mean the one that goes like a mile to get you from where the ship is docked to the entrance to the port. Or that might take you into this town center, which is maybe another mile. They started charging for that. And
so the one thing I can say with that is that might be a port thing. Because a lot of the time the ports are not operated by the cruise line, and the cruise line doesn't have a whole lot of say in what the port does.
Right. So they used to never charge, ever.
Yeah.
This was just, and it was announced, it was basically said, so now if you book the right fare, then that will include the shuttle. But if you book a saver fare or something like that, then it doesn't, and then you have to pay for the shuttle, which we almost always walk, so we don't care. And also, if it's a mandatory shuttle, like the port requires it, then it's not, then you don't pay. Right? If it's because honestly, some cruise ports are industrial ports. They're not cruise ports at all. There's cranes and cargo containers.
Our cruise line used to not be like big enough to warrant the actual cruise terminals, and so they would put us like way off in the boonies. Like I remember when they would dock in Seattle, and they would actually have us docked
in Tacoma.
No, not Tacoma, thankfully, but like the West Seattle area, like the Soto area.
Oh, geez.
Like even past the ferry terminal.
Right. So people thought that they'd be like pulling up into downtown Seattle and just walk off of the ship, but no.
No, like this is even south of the
right.
Sports stadiums and stuff.
Oh God, Jesus.
Yeah.
Down in the industrial area.
Yep, down in the industrial area where all of like the cargo ships would dump off.
Cunard often ends up in those kinds of berthings as well for the same reason. Like the giant super mega oasis of the seas or whatever of the seas with its 20 freaking decks, pulls into harbor defying the laws of physics, and they get the prime right in the center of town berthing, and then Queen Victoria gets put in what looks like a post-apocalyptic movie set.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh man, some of those ships have more people in them than my hometown.
Oh my God. Yeah. I get hives just thinking about because the Oasis of the Seas is the one that's open, like it's open in the center.
Yeah. And there's like a mall or something?
Yeah, there's a mall. And you can look, if you look at it from the back, which I have from the vantage point of one of the queens, you can see like all the way down through the entire length of the ship because it's like interior balconies all the way down the center. And it's huge. It is like the Queen Victoria could fit inside of the Oasis of the Seas, which is crazy. 6,000, 7,000 people.
Yeah, I think that's the same with our ships too.
Yeah.
Even our brand new giant ships that are quote unquote giant.
Right.
Would fit inside that.
Yeah, your employer has a lot of the same, like exactly the same ships. as Cunard
Yeah.
does,
Yeah.
because it's a common model. It's a good compromise between stupidly huge and boutique small.
Yes,
Mhm.
exactly. And the nice thing
Yeah.
is too with that size ship is that when you go into it, you can go into smaller ports, and also when you go into those smaller ports, you're not going to triple the population of that port.
Right. Yeah. That's something about, I have mixed feelings about cruising. Um, one is the environmental impact. We're not going to
Yeah.
wander down
Yeah.
that rabbit hole right now, but the other is the impact on local economies. And
Mhm.
when we go to ports, we try as much as possible to actually spend money in the ports,
Yeah.
because a lot of cruisers don't. And this is something that might shock someone who hasn't really cruised or hasn't traveled in that capacity. A lot of cruisers will go wander around, take pictures, God knows, take selfies. By the way, there's some news from Florence about stupid fucking selfies, excuse my language, um, in using historic art. And then they'll go back to the ship for lunch, and then they'll come out again. So they won't actually eat at the restaurants. They won't actually, go and spend money on the economy. They'll just go and take advantage of the things that are there. They won't and a lot of them won't even go to the museums. They won't,
Yeah, and
you
that's
know,
like if you're going to a place, go see the place.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So,
And
so
it's
that thing,
one.
no, go
Sorry,
on.
go ahead.
Mm,
It's one thing too that I noticed as well when we did our cruise because we did ours to Alaska, and I don't remember which town it was. I want to say it was Juneau. It was
mhm.
Juneau or Ketchikan. And you get off the ship and it's just lined with tourist shops of jewelry
Right,
and
Ketchikan.
like was it Ketchikan? Okay, and like the standard touristy shops where you can get like the t-shirts and the mugs and
right,
stuff like
right,
that.
right.
And people think they're buying local. No, these are the same companies that you find in the Caribbean,
Yep,
that you find in all the major tourist cruise drop-offs. They
yep,
just travel seasonally with the different areas that people cruise.
yeah,
And so like as soon as the like Alaska season is over, if you were to go to Ketchikan, all these shops would be shut up.
yep.
They'd be all shuttered.
Yep,
So,
it's a problem when you create a mono economy, right? Like
mhm.
that's problematic. When we were in Kujadazi in October, we actually specifically went wandering looking for workshops, actual workshops, and we found them. We found actual potters working in the midst of painting pottery to be fired, so that we could actually purchase. And they're in my cabinet right now. We need to unpack it and actually use it, because I don't believe in having ceramics you don't use. Um, and so we actually found an actual workshop, and he actually told us about his techniques and showed us, how everything worked. So, we knew we were supporting a local person. And we also found right across from his workshop was another workshop where people can go and actually paint their own pottery and
That's
have it fired.
awesome.
Right. So you have to this was not particularly near where most passengers go when they get off of the ship. So you would have to either be with a tour group who would know about, a tour guide who would know about this, or you'd actually have to intentionally wander down some questionable looking alleyways, which we always do.
Yeah, we just went a little bit further up the street, like the main street, and as soon as all the tourist areas stopped, found a really neat little embroidery and yarn shop that was all local and had like local
Yep.
yarns and local cross stitch and embroidery designs by local artists. And
Yep.
we found a local bookshop, and that's where we spent our money.
Yeah, and you can tell, like, it's very visible, the dividing
Oh
line
yeah.
between tourist economy and real economy. In Kujadazi,
Yep.
it's very clear, because suddenly all of the restaurant signs start being only in Turkish. all
And
of the,
everything's a little bit less shiny.
Everything a lot less shiny. Yeah,
Yep.
it's very clear, and also the composition of people frequenting the shops, because it's not, I'm not talking about skin color. There is a cruise uniform. I don't know what it is, but there's an import uniform that somehow all cruisers, and I mean whether, no matter their continent of origin, They all seem to have it. It's the same kind of shorts and the same kind of tank top and the same kind of sandals and or sneakers and the same kind of hat. Male, female, other gender identities, all the same, right? But you can always pick them out of a crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And the clothing changes from that magic, that invisible line of which we spoke, from one side of the line to the other. It's very obvious, right? It's I don't know, it's the standard cruise import uniform. I don't know if there's a company that sells it as import cruise clothes, or
I don't know, but in Alaska it was definitely windbreakers.
right.
Everyone had like a certain kind of windbreaker, and I'm just thinking, yeah, that's gonna help you when it rains.
Yeah, right. So we actually have a good comment here that I want to address. River cruises are the best. So I love the idea of a river cruise, but river cruises, I don't know if you two have heard about the issues with climate change in river cruises now.
No.
Yeah, so the rivers, because of the erratic nature of the climate these days, rivers are increasingly either too high for the river cruise ships to actually go under the bridges that have been built.
Oh.
Or they're too low. There's not enough water to actually bear the river cruise ships to their destination.
That makes sense.
Well, and here's the worst part. Those terms of bookings that we talked about, you have to read closely. You have to read the fine print, because when you book a river cruise, it actually has wording that says if the ship cannot travel for whatever reason, we will substitute the ship with bus service and put you up in hotels from port to port. Well, that's just a bus tour.
Like, I mean, at least they still get you from point A to point B, but yeah, it's definitely not as nice.
And this has been happening increasingly, and passengers, of course, get really angry because no one reads it. I'll be frank, I don't read all the terms and conditions of booking either. Because the alternative is to not take the cruise, right? You can't not sign, you cannot agree to those terms. There's no alternative.
Yeah, if you want to do the thing, you have to agree.
You have to do the thing, but then you have to be prepared to accept some substitutions. And one of those substitutions is actually that they don't have to refund your money. They don't. Yeah. They don't have to refund your money. If they offer you alternative transport and alternative accommodations and alternative meal services that are equivalent, then that's perfectly fine. And so now increasingly passengers are getting a mixed bag of river cruise plus bus tour. So you really have to be careful about that and decide if you're willing to accept bus tour instead of river cruise. If not, you might not want to book, because it's a problem. It's a problem.
No, and I would have thought of the river being too low. That's something that my brain immediately went to, but I didn't think about it not being able to get under the bridges.
Yeah. And this is especially in Europe. I can't speak for river cruises in Asia. I haven't even looked at that at all. But the European cities have bridges across those arteries. The Rhine, the Main, the Danube.
That aren't suddenly going to be like drawbridges that can go up.
Nope. And those river cruise boats were designed specifically to fit under those bridges, right?
Oftentimes barely fit under those bridges.
Barely. So, any discrepancy and it's a no-go. So, in the rivers that have locks or where they can control the level a little bit better, it's less of an issue, but that's just not everywhere. My parents were on a river cruise and they ended up having to disembark, take a bus to another port along the river and re-embark on a different ship entirely. So, yeah.
So that actually makes me think of a river cruise that a friend went on. And the way that they had them docked at the river is you had to go through another cruise line's boat to get to the dock. Oh no.
Yeah, I'm trying to indicate to Ryan he should bring me more tea. Hopefully he's watching. Anyway, go on.
Yeah. They had to walk through one or two other boats to get to the dock from where they were docked. And they were different companies.
Yes.
And so
Yes,
she was
I've
like
heard of
peeking
that.
in and being like super curious and nosy about what the others like. But she was saying there was no security, so you totally could have just gotten on a different ship and they would have eventually noticed.
Right.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Would
Maybe.
hope.
I mean, stowaway is a word for a reason.
Exactly. But the fact that she had to
Yeah.
walk through like another boat to get to the dock,
And they're
which
actually
was
designed to
so
do that.
wild to me.
Yeah, it is. I've seen that. So I used to live in Germany. I lived in Germany for 12 years and I worked in Frankfurt, which I used to go walking on the river every day during any of my given breaks. And that's where a lot of those river cruise ships dock. They dock right there in the medieval heart of Frankfurt am Main. And I would actually see the ships like dock, tethered together,
Like
one,
dominoes.
2, 3, right? And with, here's the pier, here's the bank, ship 1, ship 2, ship 3, and you could actually see how they were designed to lock in together like Legos so that you could just, disembark through the center basically. Yeah, you're right. That
Yeah.
I thought at the time that's crazy.
Well, and it's something
Is
that
crazy.
I had never even thought of being a thing, especially doing ocean cruising and working for an
Right.
ocean cruise line for as long as I
Yeah,
have, which is like
could you imagine like the Oasis of the Seas lashing up next to the
right.
Holland Dam or the
Yeah.
Amsterdam, the Rotterdam,
And then like
and
next
just
to one of those, the QE2 or something like that.
right,
Like
right,
big, medium, small.
right.
God. Or like a Windstar ship. One of the little.
Yeah. Oh
Or
God, the
Windstar
Wind
ships,
Starship.
Windstars,
Yeah.
Pioneer.
Yeah. Most people
Gosh.
don't know. See, most people don't even know what because Windstar is ultra luxury, right? So
Yeah.
Windstar are
Yeah.
actually sailing ships. They're masted
Yep. They
fucking cruise
actually have
ships.
masts on them. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. They are definitely boutique sized.
Yes.
People always ask me, would you rather go on one of those ultra luxury ships? And the reason I have no interest is because none of them have ballrooms. None of them, they're ultra luxury, but they don't have dance orchestras and they don't have ballrooms. So no, I don't want to go on them. They're ultra luxury, but they don't have the thing I want to do on my cruise, which is in the
Yeah.
evening. I want to go and I want to Lindy hop and waltz and do the Argentine tango. I don't want to wiggle
Yeah.
on a little round floor with lights flashing. Thank you. No,
Get your light
I'm
sticks. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Jesus. How civilization has crumbled.
Right. It's like dancing.
Right. Yeah, exactly. This is, especially if you're a white guy, right? You really have to get the overbite.
Yes.
You gotta get the white overbite.
Yep. Yep.
Suji,
I don't know how to dance.
mastered? Well, clearly you need to master. All you need to do is master the overbite,
God, I
right?
can't.
And you're good. You're good. That's it. That's all you need to do.
He can't do it because I would laugh at him if he did it.
Yeah.
Come and demonstrate the bus, please. Come here and demonstrate the bus. Ryan is going to demonstrate the ultimate white guy dance.
Yep, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, there's also, I've seen a lot of guys do the Carlton. If they can't do the bus, they try to do the Carlton.
Oh my God.
Varying degrees of success.
She said, I've seen guys who, if they can't do the bus, then they try to do the Carlton. Oh my God.
I have a hard time doing like dance because I grew up in organized choreographed dance.
Right. So medieval dance should actually be pretty comfortable for you then, because it's all choreographies.
I've not tried it.
What?
Okay. Okay. So, the times that we've been at SCA events where there has been dancing, it has been a very, very large crowd, and we're usually volunteering and having to go 6 different directions. So.
And if there's a lot of people, I can't. I have a very hard time. Even SCA people.
Hey, crowds are crowds.
Unless I'm with my people, and we're all moving together.
I get it. So actually, it sounds like what you need is like a boutique event where it's, like 20 people and it's everyone, everyone, and then you can kind of relax into it. So this is completely unrelated to travel. Well, it isn't completely unrelated because it's like time traveling. I'm actually looking at hosting an immersive event in the Seattle area, maybe at Camelin, where it is just 20 to 30 people. It's immersive. we're going to dance, we're going to sing, we're going to play games, we're going to eat really wonderful food, and we're going to just pretend like it's a beautiful moment in the Middle Ages. No, it's not SCA. It's like a private event. But the whole idea is that we're like a bunch of courtiers coming together in the countryside, telling stories and having fun together in a medieval way. So that might be something you might want to think about.
Yeah,
that'd be really
definitely. Depending on when exactly it happens, because summer, depending on when, can get very busy.
We haven't planned it yet. So yeah. Well, but anyway, back to cruising. So yeah. I'll definitely let you know. We'll probably Clancarn will be getting invites for certain. So so anyway, cruising craziness. So one of the funniest things we ever heard, and I think I told you the story when we were talking privately, but I want to get it on the public record. One of the craziest things we've ever heard from a fellow passenger was at the purser's desk. I'll tell you, if you ever want to hear as the passenger the strangest, craziest things come out of passengers' mouths, go to the purser's desk and just hang out in a corner where no one can see you listening in, because that is where it all comes out, really. So this was embarkation day. We were looking for that upgrade, if there were any. And there was this man in front of us. He was a venerable senior citizen, probably in his 70s, maybe even lower 80s. And he came to the desk and he said, the pursers are very well trained and they speak in just a beautiful Queen's British, right? And so, sorry, sir, can I help you? And he said, my key doesn't work. I said, oh, I'm so sorry, sir. That's a common thing. These magnetic keys, the magnetic key cards, they demagnetize. If I could just have your key, your card, sir, and your room number or your cabin number. So he gave her the cabin number. She looked at him. She said, oh, yes, of course this doesn't work, sir. This goes to your new cabin. You've been given a free upgrade from a balcony, regular standard old balcony, to a Princess Grill. He'd been upgraded to a Princess Grill suite. Free. And he looked at her. She said, so you've been upgraded to a Princess Grill, sir. Here, this is the key to your new cabin, 10287 or something like that. Something high deck, right? And he said, he looked at her and you could tell he was getting really angry. And he said, why would you do that? She said, excuse me, sir, why would you upgrade me? I didn't ask for an upgrade. I want my old cabin back. She said, sir, this is a superior cabin in every way. You get access to your own private dining room. You get access to a special lounge. You get access to complimentary cocktails. Like you have your own private terrace where you can sunbathe without having to play the Survivor game for a sun chair. Right? There's all kinds of extra services and perks that come with being in a Princess Grill suite, aside from it being a way bigger room with a larger bathroom and sometimes a bathtub. And he looked at it and said, I don't want it. I want my old balcony back. I chose that one and I want that one alone. And she said, well, I'm sorry, sir, but when you terms of booking, when you booked, you clicked the box that said you could be upgraded. And this isn't just any upgrade, sir. This is several steps up from the fare at which you booked.
An unheard of upgrade.
Unheard of upgrade, right? This was not a loyalty upgrade. So what happened is he had booked this voyage 3 years, like almost the moment the itinerary went public, he had booked it. And so in the interim, so he paid a much higher fare than most people paid for balcony cabins because he paid the brochure fare. Mm-hmm. And so over time, the ship didn't fill. So they started upgrading the people who had paid that full price to a higher quality cabin and offering the lower cabins at a discounted price. Right. Mm-hmm. So that's why Cunard never ever upgrades people based on loyalty. It doesn't happen. Loyalty is not going to get you an upgrade. It's the fare you pay that's going to get you an upgrade. Yep. So he was so
pretty standard across a lot of cruise lines.
Yeah, and unfortunately, a lot of passengers don't realize that. And so they get really angry when they hear about things like this man who'd never even cruised with Cunard before, getting a free upgrade to a Princess Grill suite. And they have cruised 30 times and never even gotten offered a more midship balcony, you know?
Yeah, but they pay like the dirt cheapest option that they possibly can.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah,
Yep.
no, money talks.
Money talks. And that's us. We always pay the dirt cheap last minute fare. We
Yeah.
never expect an upgrade. Ever.
Yeah.
Ever, never, ever. And that's fine. But you just need to expect that. But this man was so upset. But unfortunately for him, she said, "I'm sorry, sir, but all the balconies have been assigned to other people." And we said, "We have a balcony. You can have ours. We'll take the Princess Grill. No problem."
Yeah.
They unfortunately that didn't end up happening. But why would the inflection and intonation of his voice is forever seared into my memory. But why would you do that? And this was 2013. This was 2013.
Gosh. Yeah, I've had a few calls like that. Like, why would you change this? I chose this cabin specifically. I wanted this exact cabin. And it's just like, so you don't want the extra room and you don't want the extra perks? No, I want my cabin. Okay, let me connect you with the inventory department.
Right. Yeah. And you know,
They're
it's
the
like
ones that do all the upgrades and stuff.
Right, exactly. Passing the buck smoothly. Just like
love doing it. I love telling people, sorry, can't help you.
I mean, talk about ultra first world problems.
Yeah.
Like, I was given a free upgrade to a cabin that costs 4 times as much normally.
So, like, I remember when we worked in this super, super long cruise department, and so usually the very, very first things to book up were the penthouses.
Right. Really? Interesting.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of the time they were booked before the cruise was even open. Like, people would book the year prior and be like, whenever this opens, I want the penthouse.
Wow.
Hands down.
I want this specific penthouse room.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And there were sometimes fights over people getting the penthouse.
Oh my God.
Agents would call in and be like, no, my client needs this, or the clients would call in and be like, I need this, and those would go beyond our pay grade and probably go up to like the president's office or something like that to figure out who would get the particular penthouse or suite or whatever it was.
Right.
And I remember one particular year, very last minute, one of the penthouses canceled.
Oh no.
And we never found out why. Though everyone was like, oh my God, did they die? Are they sick? What's going on?
I mean, it happens. The average age of cruisers is,
and especially this particular cruise.
Yeah.
I mean,
one of the particular penthouse passengers was not, but
that's a whole different story.
I think we talked about that briefly, didn't we?
Yeah, we started going to that when we talked last. We'll circle back to that.
We'll circle back to that.
The fight over who would get that penthouse, because everyone was like, I want it, no, I want it, no, I want it, no, I want it. Like, the minute word got out that the penthouse opened.
Was this on board already, or was this before embarkation?
Before even embarkation.
Wow.
So, like, I just remember it being it was before you had joined the department, so you wouldn't know this. But, like, just all of a sudden, the flood of calls. There were 8 of us in the department, I think.
Yeah, I think it was 8 before I joined.
Yeah, there were 8 of us. All of us were on the call, and there were calls holding constantly as to people going like, what's the cost of the upgrade? How much would it cost more than what I currently have? You know,
wow.
Etc. Like, but I still get all the perks and everything because I made my original booking at this date.
Right.
And it was like, we just started a list.
Wow. So here's my question. So usually, so the penthouse in Cunard is actually not the penthouse. It's actually like a mid-range Queen's Grill. So is that the same on your line, where it's just like an upper level but not the top notch, not the topmost suite, or is the penthouse actually the top level suite?
The penthouse is the top level, just under the bridge.
Ah, got it. Okay.
Depending on the ship, sometimes it's on the same level as the bridge.
But it is like the best, the nicest, the biggest,
Yeah.
the fanciest, right?
Definitely the biggest.
Right,
Holy
right,
crap,
okay.
the biggest.
Right.
One of the times we were actually able to tour the ship that was doing the big long cruises at the time. I mean, at the time, it was bigger than my actual apartment.
I mean,
Like, I
yeah,
want to say it was twice the size of my actual apartment.
I've had those
So,
apartments too.
yeah, yeah. And I didn't have a tiny apartment,
Right.
so
Yeah,
this was
like
saying
these
something.
are big. You know,
Like, I want to
the
say it had 3 bathrooms.
3
I don't remember.
bathrooms? Why?
Yeah.
It had
Why?
multiple
Why?
bathrooms, multiple bedrooms. It was
Multiple
insane.
bedrooms, multiple
Wow.
bathrooms.
And those are the
I mean,
ones
granted,
that
one
book
of them
out
might have just been a
first?
water closet, but
Yeah.
I mean, still,
Yeah.
still. I mean, on a cruise ship, space is at a premium.
yeah.
I mean, it really is. And
Oh, yeah.
and having superfluous, extraneous bathrooms just because is
There was a dining room,
a real
there was a
flex.
living room, a dining room, multiple bedrooms, and several bathrooms.
It was an
Wow.
apartment.
Wow.
It was basically an
Wow.
apartment.
Wow.
Um,
So let me just pause here. I just want to say hello to some
Yeah.
people. So Haas and Eric, thank you for joining us. Yes, the Contessa is in cruise clothes. This is how I dress in the evening when I cruise, because I don't care if it's a gala night or a regular night. I'm on a beautiful vintage ship. I'm going to dress beautifully. I don't care how other people dress. Screw them. Yeah.
I will say our cruise line still does formal nights. Just
Yeah.
saying.
Cunard does too, thankfully. They still have, they call them gala nights because, of course, formal night is too stodgy. That's
Right.
young people don't want a formal night. They want a gala night.
I will say one of the nights that we went on our Alaska cruise, there were these 2 beautiful ladies in full formal kimono.
Mhm.
Oh,
Two
so
older
gorgeous.
Japanese
2 older
ladies.
Japanese gals, just
Yeah.
full gorgeous with the giant obies and everything, and I'm just like, that is
Yeah.
lovely.
We cruised 2 years ago. We actually did because we were living in Korea at the time. Now we're technically visiting in Korea, but either way, we took a round trip out of Japan because real easy to get from Korea to Japan. And so, of course, out of the 2,000 passengers, 1,000 of them were Japanese. Yeah. And so on formal nights, you know, many of the Japanese passengers, especially the elderly ones, they went full formal kimono. You know, hand painted, hand embroidered.
Yeah.
Those beautiful obies. It was really lovely to see. And there were some Koreans on board, and I of course was on board with my formal hanbok. So you know, there was a nice. It was really formal nights were really nice. But there were a lot of it was interesting observing racism from the Brits towards the Japanese. It was there were a lot of Brits on board too. It was interesting because it wasn't overt racism, right? It was not. It wasn't old school Jim Crow style racism, right? It was that more insidious kind of, you know, the Japanese passengers, you know, well, they're like, but you haven't interacted with all of the Japanese passengers. So what are you saying exactly?
Right? Like, I'm sorry they don't fit the British standard of formal with the tailcoat and everything like that for evenings, but
yeah, but I mean, it was more about like the way they were behaving, and yeah, I was like, well, they just, you know, like, you know that the British way is not the only way, right? I know. once the sun never set on the British Empire, but those days are done.
The sun did in fact set on the British Empire.
The sun did in fact set. There's now the Commonwealth, and yes, if you actually go by the Commonwealth, technically the sun never sets on it either. But we're not going to wander down that path. We had a question. We had a question about the dress. So this dress, I did not make this dress. This is, I think it's Mishka Badgley, but more to the point, I buy almost all of my dresses used on eBay. That's I buy all of them either overstock or dead stock or secondhand on eBay. I never pay retail. I try to buy things that are already out there in the world. And this one, I did get this one tailored for me though, because it was way too big in the waist. So
I was going to say it fits really nicely for off of eBay.
Right? Yeah, it should. So I paid about $15 for it to be tailored to fit me, and she did a bang up job on it. So
no kidding. Well, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite treasures. You know,
it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Like I was noticing the applique on the waistline is just like
Yeah, and I mean that's the crazy thing. Like to take this in, she had to go into some of this applique.
yeah, you would
These
have to
Yeah.
are
like
and these
pull it off and then take it in and then reapply them.
Yep. And she
Yep.
did that. I was at first when we talked about doing it, we talked about, well, we'll just do just the waist. But then when it came down to it, she was like, I could not and for it to look good on you. So
Yeah. Yeah. And for $15.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
wild.
And I mean, like I tried to pay her more and she's like, I mean, okay. And this is Asia. This is Asia in general, traveling in Asia. If you go to Thailand and you buy things from the craftsman, which you can do much more easily in Thailand than in other places, they will charge you a price that in my Western developed country mind is shockingly low. And I will literally hand them more money. And then instead of giving me money back because they know I won't take it back, they give me an extra piece. Like, no, I'm trying to give you more money for this piece, not no. But it's a matter of
Yeah.
pride for them. They don't want to be like, for them, they've set their prices that are fair for them and their economy. So it can be a little tricky, me thinking I should give you more because this work in the United States would cost way more, like $200. It would have cost $200 if I'd had this altered in the US.
Oh yeah.
I know, because I've had similar dresses with all this jewels and whatnot altered in the US, and it cost $200. So, yeah, $15 was embarrassingly low, honestly.
My goodness.
Yeah, having
when-
some
when-
vague idea of how much goes into it. Yeah.
Yeah. When I die, I'm hoping that my niece Haven will also be into dressing pretty. She currently is. She's only 5, so who knows? But hopefully she'll also be into dressing pretty, and I'm just going to give her my entire wardrobe. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, that absolutely tracks.
that's the plan. Yeah. So what other craziness have you ladies encountered?
Well, I can have him tell the story of the other penthouse guest that was kind
yes.
of
I didn't interact with
notorious.
him though.
I didn't either.
Oh,
We just heard
I
about
heard
it from
about
Danny.
him.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
well-
Hearsay is fine. We'll take hearsay.
I mean, the one that we heard from most from Danny was it was the cusp of me leaving the department. We had another gentleman in the department, and he was the one that the specific other guest, he only wanted to speak with him. No one else was good enough. None of the women, not me. It had.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Every
Oh
time.
my god!
If
That
you
kind
got-
of person.
Yeah, if you
Ugh.
got this gentleman on the line and you knew his voice immediately, but if you got him on the line, it was like, okay, Danny's not available. Yee. And trying to help this guy was a nightmare.
Oh, and if Danny was not available, it was just a.
Well, get him to put that call on hold. I'm more.
Yeah,
important.
no, he literally said that one time.
Oh my god!
He wouldn't even work with our supervisor.
Put that call on hold. I am more important than that other customer. Clearly. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. And what were the kinds of things that he wanted?
He was the one who wanted to bring his recliner on board, I believe.
Yeah, he
Oh
wanted to
my
bring his
gosh!
recliner. He was also the one that was bringing his son, daughter-in-law, and grandchildren. And the grandchildren had excessive allergies and would only eat kosher, so he wanted a cabin converted into a kosher kitchen for his daughter-in-law to make his grandchildren's meals.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
He wanted a cabin converted into a kosher kitchen. I mean, in any kitchen is ridiculous, but a kosher kitchen in particular. I mean, wow. Was he willing? Just out of curiosity. No, go on.
And she couldn't use the kosher kitchen that they already had on board.
Because, well, I mean, she probably wasn't allowed to because she's
no,
not.
It wasn't good enough. It was offered to them.
Really? Wow, that's shocking. Because usually they'll tell, passengers aren't allowed to use the kitchen facilities because they're not certified. It's part of the insurance, right? That's not authorized. So that they offered it is amazing. but that
I
wasn't good
don't know
enough.
if they offered it, but the story that got passed around was that he turned it down
Right.
because it
Right.
wasn't good enough.
No, wow, wasn't good enough. Was he? I do wonder. I know this is almost an apocryphal tale at this point, but I do wonder if he offered to pay for the cabin to be transformed into a kosher kitchen.
I
You know,
don't know because, well, and here's the thing, they were doing the like 120-day cruise or something like that. And it was, didn't he book like an inside and an outside room? Like not even a balcony, but like a window room and an inside room.
Something like that. They
And
had
it was
rooms
like
across from
something
each other.
super
Right,
low on the
right.
ship.
right.
And like they did not pay top dollar for someone to be making that level of demand.
That
I
is,
know.
I,
I don't know if they let him bring his chair.
I
I
mean,
know that he did ask for the TV to be mounted differently because it was in the days when there wasn't like the swinging arms.
Yeah.
So
Right.
he requested that the TV be mounted on a swinging arm so that he could adjust it. And I know they did do that. But
wow. I mean,
yeah.
that's a pretty significant alteration too, honestly.
I mean, they would do a lot for the Grand Voyage and World Cruise and
Right.
Long Voyage type passengers because they were
Recliner.
paying a lot, and honestly, they were going to have to deal with these people for 120 days. So if they have a
Yes.
marginal request that will make everyone's life easier, then I guess you go with it.
I guess there's a calculus
Yeah.
there, right? Like
Yeah.
if we put this much effort forth now, will that reduce the effort that we spend over 120 days of the passenger being part of our, unfortunately, part of our
People lives.
community, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. And the recliner, where would, like, these cabins are not huge. Where would this
No.
recliner go exactly?
Right?
Yeah.
Where, on the balcony? Would it go on the
No,
balcony?
because it was an outside room with only
It's
a
an
window.
outside room. No windows.
Maybe they put it
Okay.
in the hall. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they would install it in one of the lounges where they show movies or something. I
They
don't
wanted to
know.
bring- I mean, this is so like golden era of cruising, style cruising, where the movie stars used to
Yeah.
rock up with a car that was just their baggage,
Yeah.
and where they actually did bring furniture and their horses, and
Gosh, yeah.
and then they would actually get like loaded onto the ship like cargo, right? Like maybe this man thinks it's 100 years ago. He's thinking
It could
Titanic.
entirely be. It could entirely be.
Back in the day when I worked in the email department, you would be shocked to know how many people request to bring their motorcycle on board.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because that happened actually more than once, which
That
is
was-
surprising it would even happen once.
It was multiple times every season.
See,
Yeah.
they
You
saw
get-
Titanic. They saw Titanic, and they saw the lovemaking scene between
and they figure that you can have whatever motor vehicle you want in the
if the-
storage
you know.
area.
And yeah, they like where would we store it? We can't store it in the storage. Well, I'd just keep it in my room. No, absolutely not.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. A motorcycle. Wow. And a chair and a new kitchen. I mean, the thought of passengers cooking in their cabins fills
Right,
me
they don't
with
even like to
dread.
have irons because they're a fire hazard.
It fills me with dread. Because
Like hot plates in college.
Yeah, exactly.
the rate of ship fires would skyrocket.
Yeah.
Dear God. I mean, it's almost, now that I think about it, now that I say it aloud, should we even be allowed electric tea kettles? I don't think so.
I know we don't allow them.
I think, well, so in Cunard, they actually come, like, they're part of your room. You actually have an electric tea kettle.
Okay.
Because, English, British ships, tea is absolutely
that
essential.
absolutely tracks.
But now that I think about it, now that I'm saying it aloud, should we? I mean, I'm responsible with it, but we can't make rules for just one person. We have to make rules for everyone. So
And as I
maybe-
was saying, common sense is kind of a superpower.
maybe we shouldn't allow that either. You know what? I'm almost now hoping they get rid of them before my next voyage.
I mean, it doesn't. I mean, well, granted, though, Cunard doesn't have room service anymore, unlike our
That's
ships,
true.
which
That's
because
true.
our ships, if we don't have
Yeah.
coffee makers in the room, but you just order coffee and they bring it to you.
Yeah, no, not anymore. Now you have to pay for that, and except for breakfast. Breakfast is still included, so you can still have breakfast in bed. Oh, but you know what Cunard did that's very clever? So the reason they decided to revoke the complimentary 24-hour room service, the second they did it, I knew this was what would eventually happen. They're now offering it as a perk when you book. Like it's
a perk or
now
a package.
Exactly. Now it's a perk as part of a package when you book, right? So so they've been, and this is a cruise industry trend. It's not just Cunard, right? They've been increasingly spinning off components that used to be complimentary and then reintroducing them as part of a package to induce people to book.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas if it was complimentary before, they could never really, it wouldn't be an extra thing because we're all bargain hunters, right? We always want to feel like we got more for bang for our buck than we should have. So now people can feel that way. Oh, look, room service isn't complimentary, but I got it included with my fare.
Yep.
So
Yep.
there it is.
And that's one of those things that they can offer to travel agents to offer as incentives so that passengers will book with them so that the cruise lines don't necessarily have to deal with direct passengers.
Yep. It is absolutely, and I said, I don't blame him. I actually was thinking about how much I paid for my first Cunard voyage in 2010 on Queen Elizabeth, and I paid $1,500 per person for a balcony. And we recently paid exactly that on Queen Victoria in the Mediterranean, just like Queen Elizabeth. They're basically the same ship. But I paid that in 2025. So there has been no actual appreciable increase in fares. You can, if you play the game right, you can book for less than you would have booked that same cabin for 15 or 20 years ago. Yeah. So the cruise lines, they have to make it up somewhere. And what happens is people, it's this false, the impression of false savings, right? They think, oh, well, I only paid $1,500, and then they get on board, and then it's $5 here for a nice cup of coffee, $5 there for a soda, and then by the end of the voyage, they've actually spent enough to make up for the
difference.
plus some
microtransactions.
Yeah, it's one of those things too. Like, reason we haven't gone on any cruises, even though we technically get a free cruise every year,
right,
is we still have to pay the taxes and the port fees.
Yeah.
And the taxes and the port fees have quadrupled since we last went on a cruise. So we basically can't afford to cruise, even though we work for a cruise line.
Right. Yeah. It's the same thing the airlines have done, right? Like the fare is not much, but then all those.
Well, and the hard part is the taxes and the fees are set by the ports. The cruise lines don't set those.
Yeah, that's true.
And
that's true.
Sometimes by the state as well.
Yeah.
The state too.
Yeah, Hawaii just increased its port fees because they're actually trying to discourage cruise ships from coming.
Yeah.
Hawaii
and Alaska.
It discourages maybe the strong word. What they want is the impact, because there is a big impact. Cruise ships, right? They've got a big impact, not a positive one, on the ports. And as we talked about this, when you have passengers who aren't really spending much in port, but there's a big infrastructure impact of their presence, you need to compensate for that somehow. And environmental is a big one, of course.
Oh, yeah.
So.
And a lot of ports have added fees for environmental impact and stuff, which I don't blame them in the slightest. In fact, I'm very glad to hear that they are taking that sort of thing into account. But I remember helping my aunt and uncle do their friends and family type cruise.
Right.
And the fees on it were actually the taxes and fees were more than the actual cruise fare.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is. You can, because they often offer, really discounted fares, but that's always exclusive of port fees and taxes, always. And that's in America anyway. In Europe, you're not allowed to play that game.
No, you're
So
not.
in the EU,
not.
you're not allowed to play that game. All taxes, all fees must be shown in the price. You
Yep.
can't advertise. And you know what? We all agree. We don't care how much of it the cruise line is getting, or how much of it the ports are getting, or how
Yeah.
much the government is getting. We just want to know how much
What's
is
it going to be total? Yeah.
Sorry,
There
my
it goes.
my phone decided
No,
it was going to update the software because this is the right time to update software. It's not.
not
Yeah,
using
in the
it.
middle of anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to funny cruise stories.
The infamous guy, by the way,
Yes.
was a younger, middle-aged, maybe gentleman.
He was probably in. I want to say.
Oh,
he was in his 50s,
yes,
60s.
that gentleman, the one to whom we were going to
Yeah.
circle back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Booked a penthouse for the entire length.
And this was
Oof.
every year.
This was every year.
Wow.
He had his
How long of a
penthouse that he
voyage?
always
This
booked.
is a world voyage, or
Yeah, this would be like
120
120
days.
days. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That was set up into like 8 different segments as well. So you could book the
Jesus.
whole thing, or you could book segments.
Mhm.
Oh Jesus!
And he was the
For 20
person who
days.
would have a different partner joining him at each segment.
Every segment.
Nice, classy, classy.
And I want to say there was a salacious story about how he removed a partner in one of the ports.
Yep.
Oh
He
my
had them
God.
off the ship early.
He how was he allowed to do that? Like he
worked
hypothetically.
Purser or somebody to make arrangements for this
Oh.
particular person to get off at the next port.
Wow. It is so contrary to popular belief, that is not easy.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
immigration rules in various countries don't allow you to just be dumped into the country with no necessarily a way out. So you actually, if you wish to disembark from a voyage early, you have to get
There's all
permission
sorts
from
of
the
hoops
cruise
you have to
line.
jump through,
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
to talk to immigration authorities.
Yeah.
They have to make special arrangements because we've done that. We did that,
Yeah.
but we did the right thing, right? But it was a big deal. So you can't just decide I'm getting off here. So that's
and I
that's
don't
interesting.
remember, like, digging back into my memory banks. I don't remember if she got moved to like a random inside cabin that happened to be empty until
Oh,
she
geez.
could get off, or if
Oh, wow.
she just got off at the next port and the next port just happened to be one of the ones that she could.
Wow.
But it was definitely one of those stories that went around the department. Did you hear about this? Did you hear about this?
Oh my God. Wow. I just the audacity of being able to have your cabin mate put off is very interesting. That's
well, and the fact that he had multiple people join him throughout the cruise regardless.
That was already a bit, oh my.
That was already a bit like,
I mean, I'm not so I'm absolutely not here to judge anyone's choices when it comes to their but on the other hand, I mean, we live in a world where that's not necessarily a safe thing to do.
Yeah. There's that. There was definitely the heavy implication of these people don't know about each other.
Right. They don't know about each other. And God knows they may have been employees, shall we say. Contractors.
Yeah.
Short-term contractors.
Gig workers.
Pretty women.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That is, when we were on that leg of the world cruise going from Hong Kong to Dubai, we stopped in 2 ports in Vietnam, and one of them was a beach port. And I remember walking down the beach, and there was a Russian oligarch lying there, and he'd reached what I would call wrinkled testicle age, right? Like that's how he looked. He looked.
Time to take a drink.
Sorry.
Take across my computer.
He had achieved wrinkled testicle age of Russian oligarch. So he was somewhere north of 70, and he had spent a lot of his vacations clearly roasting in the sun. As he was in this case, he was bright red, lobster red, and he had a giant beach ball belly. And he was lying on the recliner, and this I mean, it was just, you couldn't not look at it. It was so bright red, shining in the sunlight. But
Like the
next to
train wreck you
him,
just can't look away from.
you can't look away. I tried. I'm like, no, stop looking. At this very moment, the horror of the image is playing through my mind's eye, unbidden. But right next to him was this gorgeous, gorgeous lady, lanky, long, perfect everything, you know, E cup in a bikini that didn't hide much, beautiful long blonde hair, very expensive jewelry. And it was very clear she was decades younger than him. And it was very clear that she was not there out of love, right? This was someone who was either a trophy bride or a companion, because this wrinkled testicle was definitely not going to make it on his merits. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a.
Yeah. Like we've all seen the trope in the movies and everything
It's
like that.
it was amazing. I think it was the first time I'd ever seen it really played out in real
Seen
life.
it out in the wild. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was
Yeah.
out in the wild. And you know what, all I could think of is, someone get me some sunblock. I need to cover him in sunblock. That
That should
belly,
be her job. That should be her one job.
it just like, right. It should be her one job, to keep him from turning into a one-sided lobster, which he clearly was. Because I don't think he could lay on his belly. I don't think that is possible by the laws of physics. I mean, it was because it was also like a vodka belly, so it was really
Oh.
taut. Like it
My
wasn't.
uncle
I
had
don't
one
mean.
like that. Yeah. So I
It
know
was.
exactly what you're talking about. It
It was
wasn't quite
shiny.
huge, but
It
yeah.
was shiny. I'm not fat shaming, but it was just so red. It was so red. It's like
I'm
I
really just
feel
picturing my Uncle Bob in this situation.
my skin hurts just thinking about it. Like, ouch.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
I
Definitely
remember
had
going
money. What
snorkeling
on
for the
earth is
first
going
time
on
and
with my
forgetting
phone?
sunscreen.
Oh,
Ah, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry to hear that. That is really
Yeah.
unfortunate. That
But I
is.
was like,
Oh.
I was probably
Mm,
13. So, I mean,
mm.
at that point, you bounce back a lot quicker. And
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
that
granted,
was.
when I was sorry, go ahead.
No, go on.
When I was little, I didn't burn. I'm Italian. I just tan.
Yeah.
It took so much for me to actually burn that I would have had to been under like a sun lamp, a
Yeah.
tanning bed, and the sun to actually get me to burn.
That's my sister. My sister got the Italian genetics on the skin. I got the Irish German genetics. So my first big bad burn was when I went to the water park when I was 13 on the end of the year school field trip and didn't have sunblock, and I had second-degree burns. Like I had really bad, like my shoulder. I couldn't wear anything
Oh no.
here because it was just open wounds basically for like
Oh.
2 weeks. It was terrible. It was good. And that's why now I am religious about sunblock application, and I'm religious about covering any part of my skin that might have the sunlight touch it, because I'm really worried that that's going to come back to haunt me.
yeah.
Yeah, as someone whose mother had stage 4 skin cancer,
Yep.
the
Yep.
entire family started really applying the sunblock at that point.
hmm
So
Yeah. Yeah.
I also become a darker shade of pale, so I understand. With the
Yeah,
commenters.
all I do is I become red and then I go back to pale. If I happen to get any sun, it burns and then I go back to pale. There is no tan.
that's
and then eventually there are sunspots and freckles, right? Because that's the kind of skin I have. But I'm always keeping an eye on it, right? I'm always like, oh God, is this the day? Is this the day when these freckles turn on me and I have to have skin grafts and wow. Yeah, which is why, by the way, everyone, tagged in this live stream is one of my favorite sunblocks, a mineral block by Badger that actually comes in a little metal canister, so no plastic, and it's 100% non-nano titanium dioxide or zinc oxide, and it will block the sun from harming your skin in any way. That's what I use now, nothing less. If it doesn't make me pale, I don't put it on.
We will pick up some of that for
June Fair.
June Fair, Autumn
Yeah.
or any of those that we're doing, where we're running around in the sun.
Yeah.
Because in my garb, I do not currently have a hat.
Ugh.
Because
Ah.
I mostly do Japanese, and
Right.
those hats are
Right.
very expensive. If you
Are
can
they?
find them at all. Yeah.
Oh, they're not here.
$300.
Yeah.
Holy, why? Why are they? Okay,
Import,
because they're being
maybe.
imported, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And this was before all the tariffs.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
Jesus.
was
Okay.
like 10 years ago I started looking,
Yeah.
and they're ridiculous.
We'll have to chat when we're not on live
Yeah.
stream about how I might be
Yeah.
able to assist you in obtaining the right kind of hat.
I
Because
won't argue.
because they're not expensive here.
Yeah, I was looking
my
into
God.
how to make the woven hats and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I burn very, very badly, and I get heat affected very, very badly. And I know that
Yeah.
Pacific Northwest, compared to a lot of places in the world, is not bad when it comes to heat. But when it climbs into the 80s Fahrenheit, it's a lot here.
Yeah, but it's been getting worse. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, there have been summers there in Seattle where it's 110, 117 degrees, right? Where,
Yeah.
and I'm not exaggerating. My father-in-law, as you maybe know, still lives in Covington, and there are summers where he has had to go live in their RV because it has air conditioning, but
Yeah.
their home built in 1960 does not.
Our
Yep.
home built in 1999 doesn't.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and it was so hot, and it was a single story ranch style home, low ceilings. So
Mhm.
117 degrees, there's no place for the heat to go.
Yeah, and that particular area gets it super bad. Like I
Yeah.
remember that particular summer where it got that hot, and in our bedroom, the air felt warm, but then you climbed into bed and the bed was even warmer because it had
Yeah.
absorbed all the heat in the
Ah,
air.
gross.
It was so bad. So bad.
So my mom's trick, I grew up in it's now 175-year-old house on the East Coast, and our summers are pretty gruesome. And my mother's trick, when we didn't have air conditioning, it does now. My dad has since installed central air, but it didn't at that time. Growing up, there was no air conditioning in the Lorenz household. We just suffered. But my mother's trick was to take the bed sheets, put them in the freezer, go take a shower, go grab the bed sheets, run upstairs, get them on the bed as quickly as possible, and get in between the sheets before they heated up so that she
Yep.
could fall asleep. Yeah, that was her trick.
Mhm.
That's the trick we used to.
We have done that.
Yep.
Her dad, my father-in-law, gave us a single room air conditioning unit,
Kind that like goes into the window and
Right,
pulls everything
right.
out.
and
Right.
that has been our saving grace for the past handful of years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We made a wool coat, or we embellished a wool coat for His Majesty a couple of years ago.
And they gave it to me over the summer to work on.
We
And
had
so I
to
had
do
Oh,
it in
spent
the
did they?
bedroom,
Oh
summer
God.
sitting with
Oh
a giant wool
Jesus.
coat in my
Giant
lap,
wool coat. Oh no, thank you. I'm good.
embroidering pieces of this
embroidering
coat.
pieces.
I just
God.
remember sitting on our bed, my back killing me because I'm not 20, in the air conditioning because it was
Yeah,
the only
we would
cool
go
place in
upstairs
the
to the bedroom
house.
to sit on the bed and embroider it in the air conditioning.
And we
Right.
brought up one of our laptops, and we were watching the Golden Girls and embroidering this wool coat, and just like in
Oh my
almost no
God.
clothing because it was
Oh my
so
God.
hot,
Yeah.
even with the
Yeah.
air
No, you
conditioning
just
going.
And like the coat was
maximize
due in like
evaporative
2
cooling.
weekends or something like that, and we were just both of us on each
Oh
of
my
us taking
God.
an end of the coat.
The
Sitting
wool
like
in our laps.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty much.
yeah. God, it was so bad.
I'll
yeah,
send you pictures of it another time. But
that's pretty awesome. That's pretty great. But it's
yeah,
like trauma experiences like that bond us together.
yeah, exactly. So going back to the cruises and trauma.
Yeah.
So one year,
Great segue.
yeah, thank you. I try. Um, so one year they offered free luggage delivery to the ship, so that
Oh,
people wouldn't have
oh,
to
that would be
bring all
so
their stuff.
amazing.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
and every year it worked except for one.
Oh boy.
And that was the year that suddenly the shipping company that our company had contracted with just disappeared.
Oh. That's fun.
Yeah.
Just
And so
disappeared.
the day before the
Oh.
cruise, or 2 days before the cruise, when things were supposed to be starting to get picked up, I started getting crazy calls of my luggage never got grabbed.
I had this date booked.
Yeah,
This
I had
date and this
this date
time.
booked for my luggage to
no.
be picked up. What happened?
Oh no.
And so thankfully we didn't have to deal with it too much, being the bottom of the rung
Oh my god.
phone call takers. But we had to keep a running list of who hadn't been picked up and send that off to our supervisor.
Who
And
had
she
flown down.
Oh
had
my
flown
god.
down to the area and was personally going through every single person's list
Oh
to
my
make sure
god.
everybody got picked up by this, emergency company that we contracted with last minute. And this
Wow.
was during the holidays too.
Oh my god. The added expense, because of course that contract company can basically charge what they want at that point.
Mhm. Mhm.
Right? They
Yeah.
can say, "Oh, well, you need us, we don't need you."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And so she got flown down to
wow.
Florida at the holidays, like the week between Christmas and New Year's,
Oh my god.
because the cruise was boarding like January 2nd or something like that,
Right.
to organize everything. She was hand mailing out shipping labels to people to overnight them the shipping labels for them to be picked up by this new company. And
Right.
she was doing this all on her own. Needless to say, after the cruise left, she took like 2 weeks off.
Oh my god. I mean, so those ships, that's like 2,000 passengers, 2 to
Not this
3,000 depending.
particular one, thankfully. This one, I
Oh,
want
thank
to
god.
say it was like 1,200.
Yeah, about
I mean,
12, I think, yeah.
Yeah, because it was one of our
Oh, yeah.
older ships.
1,200.
And not
Dang.
everybody did the shipping, because you had to book by a certain point to get the free shipping.
I mean, but
But
still,
yeah, it was
hundreds
probably close
probably.
to like 800.
I know
God.
that that was like a couple months after I went to I left the department.
Yeah, you had left the department.
And I just remember
Wow.
He was on the other side of the cubicle wall, so he could hear everything.
Yeah, I could hear everything. The two departments were side by side in the office.
Side, yeah.
Oh my god.
But I remember you working a lot of overtime during that.
Oh yeah.
Because you were coordinating and helping.
Wow.
Yeah. I
I mean, but the panic the passengers must have felt too, right?
Yeah.
Like, because so you said this departing from Florida, so probably Miami or Fort Lauderdale or something like that.
I want to say it was
But
Fort Lauderdale,
the U.S. is a big country. It's a whole continent, right? It's the width of a whole continent. It's massive. So it's not just as easy as like in the UK. If you're living in the UK and you're cruising out of Southampton, no problem, right? We're talking about, for many of these people, a massive distance to travel. You can't bring luggage really on these flights anymore without paying lots of extra. And if you've planned for that luggage to be picked up and then it doesn't get picked up and you're a day before the voyage, wow. Yeah, for those who don't know, there actually are luggage forwarding companies. Like, they specialize specifically in getting your luggage not just from cruise ports but also from airports, getting it home to you so that you don't have to deal with it at the airports, basically, or on trains. But these services are generally pretty expensive. At least in Europe and the US, they're expensive. So it's not cheap. So it's also not something you're going to just do for the most part unless you have a lot of money. A lot of luggage and a lot of money. So wow, that's a big deal, especially on voyages that have formal nights, which if I'm on a cruise, it's because it has formal nights.
It was formal nights and theme nights.
Theme nights, yeah, the theme nights, which I love theme nights. I actually really enjoy theme nights on voyages. This is the medievalist coming out in me. Oh, yeah. I love the theme nights, and a lot of passengers don't. They get annoyed by them. But with the weird thing about theme nights, I don't understand why they get annoyed about them, because they're not mandatory.
Yeah.
You don't have to participate.
If you want to participate, you can. Nothing is mandatory.
Nothing is mandatory.
But okay, I mean, that being said, especially with some of the World Cruise people that we had to deal with, I would not be surprised if there was some social obligation felt
Peer
By
pressure.
some
Right.
people, like peer pressure sort of thing of
Right,
why
right,
did you dress up for this? Everyone else did. Why didn't you? Sort of thing.
right.
But
You
that's
know,
on
I,
the
I,
that's on the individual and the other passengers. That has nothing to do with the cruise line. Cruise line doesn't care as long as
yeah,
you like aren't complaining.
yeah. Well, you know, it's funny. Cunard, about a year ago, I think there must have been a bad idea of ferry floating around Cunard Corp or Cunard headquarters, and they were just because it's Carnival Corp that owns them. Cunard headquarters that just gave them a bunch of really bad ideas at the same time, and one of them was to get rid of the theme nights.
Mm.
And it was announced a month before they implemented it. So lots of people, it turns out that lots of passengers actually booked because they wanted the theme nights. And so, passengers raised this outcry and they said, okay, so now it's just gala nights with no theme. Well, that's not very fun. We want to go back to the theme nights. And so within a couple of months, they reinstituted them. Like they went right back to it. They realized that was actually a selling point for a lot of passengers.
I can't speak for Cunard and Carnival and stuff, but I have noticed kind of industry-wide that there has been an influx of, how do I say this nicely, and I don't think I can, tech bros.
Yeah.
There's
Just say
been a
it.
massive influx of tech bros that have just
Yeah.
been like, well, we don't care about this stuff, so we don't think anybody else should care about this stuff.
If I don't care about it, nobody does.
Nobody does.
exactly.
Yeah.
And we should streamline everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's
And yeah, it should all be the
modernize.
same.
all this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should all be the same. There should be no differences between cruise brands,
Yeah.
which is ridiculous.
That's why
I mean,
that's why there are different cruise lines.
yeah,
Because they offer
people,
different things.
exactly. People who cruise with Virgin, they're going to get a specific kind of experience.
Mhm.
Those same people are not likely to like the Cunard experience.
Yeah.
The people who cruise with actual Carnival line, are very unlikely and like it and enjoy it. Are very unlikely to enjoy Holland America, for
Yeah.
instance.
And people who book Holland America are unlikely to enjoy something like Princess
Or Norwegian,
or Norwegian. Yeah.
or Royal Caribbean, or any of them. Yeah.
But we've often said, Ryan and I said, and many people who cruise with Cunard, for instance, have said, if they keep homogenizing Cunard to align with basically all of the other brands on that level of spend of fares, basically, we will stop cruising, because the things that we like about cruising with Cunard are specifically dressing nicely and everyone else dressing nicely also, right? So that it's part of the atmosphere, right? Are having a ballroom with an actual dance orchestra, afternoon tea, right? That old classic style cruising experience. That's why we cruise. If that goes away, we won't go to a different cruise line because there aren't any others. We'll just stop cruising. Well, we will find, and we're not alone. There are thousands of people who feel that way. So these tech bros, like you say, it's like Carnival Corp got these tech bros with their bad idea ferries sitting on their shoulders and pooping on them, I guess. And, pooping out these ideas.
The best thing I can say to what you are looking for in a cruise, write letters.
We have them. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, just keep doing it.
Keep writing.
Keep letting them know that this is what's wanted.
Letters that it's what's wanted. The more people they hear from, the more likely it is something that will stay, because they will know that is what the value is in their brand.
Yep. No, absolutely.
Don't just tell the purser on board. Like that's good too, but they don't collect that data. That doesn't go anywhere. You can be like, I want you to send this on. They have nowhere to send it.
Yeah. No, they won't.
Write to whatever Office of the President, Guest Relations, whatever.
Yep.
If you're not sure where that is, contact the main line and they'll give you a number or an email or something.
Yeah.
But that is
and actually a lot of cruise lines now actually have active social media presences, by which I mean there are actually people manning.
Yes.
Or at least there were before the whole AI chatbot thing, but I still get the impression that sometimes there are humans on the other side.
We hope.
We hope.
We hope. But yeah, that is a fantastic piece of advice, because it's actually these massive outcries. People wrote in, right? They wrote about, we want the theme nights back.
Yeah.
What the hell are you doing getting rid of complimentary room service when I booked 3 years ago under the understanding that there would be, right? So there is actual evidence that it works.
Yes.
So yeah,
It's definitely one of those situations where the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
it does.
So like, just be as squeaky as you can.
Yep. And
Yeah.
tell them you don't like this whole, like, the flip this house, people going in and making everything gray.
Making everything
Yeah.
gray or beige and
Yeah.
all that. And it's like,
Oh
no.
yeah.
That the personality is what you're coming for.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, it's like we are not alone. Like, there's literally thousands of people who feel the same way. And it's just like you said, it's just encouraging them to actually speak up and say, well, it's not like you're going to get me to keep coming. I'll stop coming altogether. And by the way, as long as I don't get hit by a car or something like that, I've got another 40, 50 years probably of booking cruises. So maybe you should think about that.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing, is that these tech bros or whatever they have in this decision-making position, they don't think long-term. They just
They
think in
don't.
the here and now.
They really
And
don't.
so it's like, I see it in where I work, and I work mostly operations type things. And I had one of them actually say, "You use a 10 key? That's silly." And I was like, "Well, let me see how fast you can input numbers into a system versus how fast I can do it."
Wait, what did he use instead?
The bar at the top.
What?
Yeah.
No. Number pad.
Number pad
is
exists for a reason.
It's old fashioned.
Yeah, old fashioned.
I would die without mine.
The number bar at the top, please, Bunky. Come on.
And he was convinced that he was faster, and I almost challenged him.
You should have. There's no way he was.
He was in a meeting with a bunch of VPs, so I couldn't.
Jesus Christ.
I was just like, I talked to my boss about it later, and she's like, "No, I would have been right there with you."
It's physically impossible, because you have to move your hand across that bar, whereas the keypad, your hand's right there.
Maybe he just puts a prompt into ChatGPT.
Oh shit!
Probably.
We are so doomed. We are so doomed. We are so doomed. Oh my god! And for all I know, it was ChatGPT that told that idiot to get rid of complimentary room service overnight and do away with themed evenings, right?
I mean,
we're so screwed. Please stop using ChatGPT and co, everyone. It is not what you think it is, and it is not giving you right answers. Almost ever.
Please think about how many lakes you were draining.
I mean, just the environmental impact alone is horrific.
Yeah.
Apparently, they're starting to do studies, and it literally negatively impacts your brain.
Oh yeah. It's retarding people's ability to think critically. I mean, that was already in danger. That was already on the out. I mean, did you hear about there's this history grammar? he's on IG. I don't think he's on YouTube, but he's a history professor actually. And he actually did a test Grok search for a piece of ancient Latin literature. And he queried it to find out about this about some ancient literature, and Grok kicked back basically an essay that, if you read it, sounded great, because it found these two passages of text. It attributed them to Pliny the Elder, and I don't remember who the second, maybe Cicero. And it explained the meaning. It broke down the grammar and the syntax. This is in the accusative, so it means this. Oh, he's doing it for translation, right? It was part of the translation. And so it's quoting these two passages from these ancient Roman great literati. And no, not only did it not exist, it didn't exist. It even referenced it. It cited it. It said it comes from Pliny, De Re Natura by Pliny the Elder, this chapter, this section, and this other thing from Cicero. And this professor went and checked. Doesn't exist. Didn't exist. Grok wrote Latin text and attributed it to ancient authors.
Yeah.
How many students are going to actually go check the sources? None. Not a
None.
single one.
Yeah.
Not a single one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I could go
Yeah.
on for hours about the evils of AI, but
No, I could too. This is not that chat, but
Yeah.
it's
exactly.
what frustrates me are the tech bros who, and it's not even the tech bros who defend it. It's people who should normally know better. Like,
Yeah.
people who should know better, and it's like it's the same. God knows I'm going to set the chat on fire when I say this. It's almost the same defenses for guns.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost the same defenses for gun ownership. It's a tool. If you use it right, then it's safe. Okay, but no one is using it right.
Yeah, exactly.
Whose
Like-
decision is that what's right?
Like,
Well, I mean, there's
not
that
all
too.
A-
Yeah.
not all
Yeah.
AI is evil. I will
No.
say that right out.
No. Don't mean. No, I agree.
I rely on spell check more than any one human should. And it is technically AI. But it is not generative AI. It is
Right,
the
there's-
generative AI that is the,
It's dangerous.
as
Yeah,
this person says, is Sauron. Generative AI is Sauron. General,
it is.
not generative, general AI, like spell check and grammar check,
Right.
less.
It has a place. It's a tool.
Yeah.
Those are tools.
Yes.
Those are tools. Like in this analogy, a garden hoe
Mhm.
is a tool, right?
Yes.
You can use it as a weapon, and farmers have actually in the Middle Ages in particular.
Yeah.
But
There's documentation for that.
if you use it properly, then it's a very useful tool for gardening, right?
Mhm. Exactly.
You know, but generative AI is guns, basically. It's like they have one function, and it's not to. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to wander down that hole.
I mean,
Yeah.
we
But
could go on that forever.
yeah, we could go on for that forever. But yeah, no, ChatGPT is definitely not the. It's going to destroy civilization. So, and actually, people have started using that also to pick their cruises, their cruise lines. So they will
Weird.
actually, they will actually ask ChatGPT, what is the best cruise line for me? And that's it. They won't, they don't give any other input. That's it. And so now the people first time cruisers are starting to pick their cruises, their cruise lines based on ChatGPT's analysis of them
Please,
as a
for the
person.
love of all that is good and holy, use a travel agent.
Yeah, seriously.
Right. That is literally what their job is.
Of ChatGPT, please use a travel agent.
I just can't even. This is the worst timeline. I can't even imagine the kind of disappointment they're going to experience when they get on, say, Queen Elizabeth and expect tattoo
And they're
parlors.
expecting like carnival.
Yeah.
Expecting it.
Well,
you know,
but where's the water slide?
where's the water slide?
Where's the water go?
I was told that all cruise lines have water slides. Yeah, where's the conga line during sail away?
Oh,
Yeah.
great googly.
Yeah,
Oh, that's that's wild.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I don't know.
Like, I mean, you get like there are so many stories that we haven't even gone into of people that we've heard about on cruise lines, but I can't even imagine, and I know it happens, but I can't imagine somebody from like, an octogenarian from Holland America Line going on a Carnival cruise that is like one of the party cruises to the Caribbean during spring break or something like that.
I mean, I can imagine it. It's funny.
Yeah. Oh no, it's objectively it's hilarious. But
it's hilarious.
being somebody who would have to work with customers, I cannot imagine having to like deal with that.
Oh my god.
I mean, that just makes the whole like two opposing forces on a cruise makes me think of the cruise my parents went on this past year.
Oh god.
To Alaska.
Oh no.
They were part of the group, unfortunately.
You need to tell a little bit about your parents first for this to make sense.
Oh boy.
My parents are extremely conservative in every aspect.
Okay.
Highly religious.
Oh boy.
White people.
Maybe cruises aren't for them, or standard cruises might not be for them.
Well, there is a particular group, like agency, that books, a big group of people on board. It takes
That are
up a
very
portion.
like-minded.
It takes up a whole big
Oh,
portion of the ship,
right, right.
and they all go, and they all have their meetings and things. And my parents went as part of this group, and I didn't know they were part of this group until I heard someone else in the company, in another department, talking about, oh yeah, this cruise, this cruise number, we've been getting an influx of people complaining about this group that was on board and how awful they were
Oh God.
to
They
everyone
were a
else.
major religious, certain
Yeah,
direction-leaning,
Oh boy.
conservative
yeah.
group.
Oh,
And some of
And if
their
we said the name,
comments,
you'd
and
probably recognize it.
yeah,
yeah.
but
I have my suspicions.
yeah, they mentioned this, the cruise number, and I was like, oh, I think that's what my parents were on. Oh no. So I went and I looked up their booking, and it was like, oh no.
Oh no.
And apparently there was just a lot of conflict during that
Oh, I
cruise
bet there
because it was a
was.
huge group. And that's
Oh,
something that you have no idea is going to be
yeah.
happening.
No, when you book, you don't know. I mean, I've been on voyages where there were large groups booked for like the one we went on 2 years ago. There was a 300-person group from Mexico of
Wow.
of like they were women who sold beauty products, and they were the top salespeople for this
An
company.
MLM.
Yeah, seriously,
Oh
seriously.
wow.
And their prize for being the top sellers was to get this a Japan voyage on Queen Elizabeth, right?
Dang. That's a
And
good
I mean,
MLM.
right, right from
They
Mexico.
actually followed
So
through.
so
Yeah.
there were three. I mean, I loved it. I loved having these ladies. They were colorful. They had beautiful dresses. They were interesting. They were vivacious. I will say that there were some of our British passengers who weren't so happy with their presence, shall we say.
Well, they
Yeah.
weren't happy with the Latinas. They weren't happy with the Japanese people from Japan.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
It's got to
Yeah.
be
So yeah,
British. Boil it to death.
right. So I've been on this cruise. You don't know. When you book, you don't know if there's going to be one of these groups. So
Mhm.
your parents were in one of those groups.
Yep.
Mhm. And I think I brought it up to my mom as a like kind of testing the water. Like, oh, I've
Right.
heard that there were some conflicts on that cruise. And she's like, there were no conflicts at all. Our group
Oh,
was wonderful. There were some of the most amazing conversations on board. And
yes.
it was just
Yeah.
the best
Yep.
thing. Also, about a few days after the cruise, like that week after, my dad ended up in the hospital emergency room with a really bad variant of the flu and COVID
That he gotten from the
that he
group.
got from the cruise
Yeah. I
because
mean,
such a huge chunk of people were not vaccinated,
yeah. Well, I
And
mean,
we're the kind
including
who
him.
refuse to get vaccinated.
yeah,
Hmm.
but I mean, to be fair, and I'm not talking about COVID, but in general, and this is something that cruise lines don't want people to know, cruise ships are petri dishes.
Oh yeah.
Oh
They're,
yeah.
if you want to get sick, your best bet, if you want to catch an infectious respiratory infection anyway, your best bet is to book a cruise.
Yeah, and also like if you think about it this way, a cruise is like almost like a giant convention.
Yeah.
So you should treat it the same way.
Yeah.
What's another great place to get a respiratory infection or a cold of some sort? A convention.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
call
The
it con
crud.
crud for a reason.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Concrud.
Yep.
Yep.
So you gotta take care of yourself. Bring hand
Yep.
sanitizer
Yeah.
Wear a
and
mask, bulk up
mask.
on your vitamin C if you can, all that kind of
Hmm.
stuff.
Make sure you're up
Yes.
to date on all of your
Yep.
vaccinations or whatever you're
Yep.
getting.
So this actually ties into the complimentary room service change, and God knows Cunarders some of them scream at me when I bring this up, but this is what happened. This happened when they made people have to pay for room service beyond breakfast. What happened is people who were developing a cold or a flu or whatever, they didn't want to spend money on meals in their cabin when they paid for the meals in the public dining venues. So instead of staying in their cabin like they would have before and ordering room service, more people started going out in amongst and eating in these places and getting everyone sick, including the crew. On our October voyage, I had never heard ever so much hacking, so much sneezing, so much sniffling and I've been cruising for almost 20 years. 20 years. Never heard so much in a cruise ship in my life. And so many of the staff were sick. They all got sick. And so many more than I've ever seen in my life. And I know because I actually make friends with the crew, the staff, because that's, I mean, first off, they have interesting stories, but it's smart, right? It's also self-interested. I actually do. I like them. Like we get chatty. We talk about, our lives, and I learn a lot about people from all over the world. But I notice when they're gone, and I always ask them like, oh, well, they're sick, and this is increasingly happening. Now, the reason that I get shouted at when I say that is because apparently sometime since Cunard rolled out the you must pay for room service thing till recently, Cunard's quietly unrolled this policy whereby if you go to the ship's doctor and are officially declared sick, then room service is free. But I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's not, there's no piece of paper anywhere that I've ever seen, no announcement made in any official form that actually announces that. So you kind of have to know that that's a thing to take advantage of it. So people who don't know but are cheap and inconsiderate, obviously, they're still going to the buffet. They're still going to the main dining room with the sniffles. So
yeah.
And a lot of people aren't going to go to the doctor for a cold.
Yeah, and that's the thing. What I don't know, and I haven't been able to find this out, is normally, for those who don't know, going to the ship doctor is expensive as shit. It's very expensive. If you have health insurance that covers it, then maybe you can submit the bill, but you'll have to pay up front and then submit the bill.
Yeah.
And to be frank, a lot of people cruising these days are penny pinchers. They're not. This isn't the golden era of cruising where Clark Gable would just tip $100 to the busboy, Those days are done. So most people cruising these days are penny pinchers, and so they're probably also not going to want to go pay to have a cold diagnosed. Pay $120 to have a cold diagnosed.
Which honestly, if you think about it, that cost without insurance is hella cheap, at least compared to
in the US. In the US. Yeah.
I was just about to say, in the US, that's very cheap for a doctor's visit.
But it also would cover your room service.
It would also cover your room service, so there's that.
Right. So. But then it's a little bit of a gamble, right? Because then you have to trust that the doctor will automatically declare you as having a cold. But he might not. He might say, "Oh, you don't really have a cold. This is just like you're an allergic reaction or
allergies
something."
or something. Yeah.
So I don't know. For all I know, and if Cunard were smart, this is what it would be. Mm-hmm. To the getting diagnosed for the purposes of not going out and infecting other people, that should honestly be complimentary, because that would be the sensible approach. Is that then people will take advantage of it more frequently. But
it's one of those catch-22s, and again, I think it goes back to the tech bros.
Yeah. This was part of their bad idea fairy. And lots of people will defend it. They'll like the hardline loyalists will defend it. Well, I never really used room service very much anyway, and if I didn't use it, then surely no one else did. It's very self-centered, actually.
Mm-hmm.
To assume that because you don't use something, no one else does, and so why does it matter?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, I like my midnight cheese plate. Please bring me my midnight cheese plate.
Or they'll get judgy about it. Well, the food in the main dining room is gourmet luxury. Why on earth would you not want to go eat in that beautiful dining room when you can and have room service instead? Completely not acknowledging that there are other reasons you might want room service, or other times of day when you might want room service.
Yeah. Like, even if it's just, I have been around people all day and I need to decompress and not be around people right now.
Yeah.
And we can't get a table for 2. We have to sit at one of those 8 people tables. I can't
Right.
handle that.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Or you can't handle the
So,
noise, or
yeah.
you need quiet time. Like it's such a self-centered, egocentric view
Yeah.
of the universe.
Yeah.
To be frank, we almost never used room service, not because of any intent. It just didn't. Right. We didn't need to. It was. We very rarely did. It was nice to know it was there.
Yes.
Mhm.
But this change hasn't really impacted us personally, but I definitely sympathize for the people for whom, whose experience it has impacted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And you could see places where it would be a negative situation, and very
Yeah.
likely has been.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like with everyone getting the colds and everything like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
and
So,
it's funny, anytime I bring that up, like I said, there's about 50% of the cruisers who attack me. You're spreading misinformation, and I'm like, no, the misinformation is that the correct information is not made plainly available, so
Yeah.
people are operating. I'm not doing this is what other people are doing. And
mhm.
yeah, just because that if you get a diagnosis, room service will be free during that period of illness
Doesn't mean
doesn't mean.
everybody knows.
And they don't.
Yeah.
They really
Yeah.
don't.
Mhm.
Well, and it's like the people who tend to be like that, I have noticed, tend to also be people who are very loud on a particular website. That the
Yeah,
initials might be CC.
yeah, might be, could be.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And yes, those people are going to be in the know because they visit that site fairly, often, and they
Yep.
are active on it and they go digging for that information. But your average person is not going
Is
to be
not.
like that.
No. And especially the younger they are, the less likely they are to be on that particular forum.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
that
Yes.
that forum has a very definite average age that is
Yes.
north of 60.
Yes.
So
Yes, and a very
Very opinionated.
yes, a
yeah.
very very opinionated and a very group opinion.
Oh, there's a
Very
hive mind.
loud
Yeah.
group opinion.
There's absolutely a hive mind on that
Yeah.
particular forum. It is,
Yeah.
and it is, and God forbid, you should not groupthink.
Right. Right. Yeah.
God forbid you have an independent opinion based on your own personal experience and observations that
And God
counters
forbid
the
you try
group
to
narrative.
correct them in any
Oh,
way.
mm-mm.
Yeah.
No, these people unfortunately tend to be retirees with enough money to be comfortable, and lots of time.
Yes.
Lots of time, and they just live there. They just live there.
Yeah.
And some of them too time it right there on the Facebook groups as well for all of these.
Oh yeah.
Yes. That was my uncle before they went on their cruise. And so he was constantly messaging me going like, is this right? Is this right? And I'm like, no, none of that is right. Where
None of
did
that
you
is
even
right.
get that? And he told me, and I'm just like,
Get off of that site right now.
Please
Yeah.
stop. Please stop.
Please stop. Please just.
And I had to go to my aunt and just be like, tell him to stop. Tell him that is all terrible information and to stop.
I mean, to be fair, one of the very often what clever or well-informed people will say is, please contact the cruise line directly and ask them. Right?
Yeah.
Don't rely on information you get here. Contact the cruise line.
His way of doing that was contacting me because I worked.
I know. Yeah,
So,
yeah. That's it. So he was. In fairness,
he was contacting the cruise line.
In
Unfortunately,
fairness,
a lot of it was like, I don't know. I haven't been in reservations for like 15 years.
So did you pass the buck? Is my question.
I told him to put Ellen on the phone. Is what I told him.
Nice.
Let me talk to your wife.
Yeah.
Detach the internet. Cut off the internet.
I think my exact words were, please make him stop.
Please make him stop. What are some of the craziest assumptions, or what's some of the really awful misinformation you've heard floating around from cruisers, what they think about the cruise experience?
So,
how close can you get to the bears in Alaska?
Yeah, that's the biggest one. That
oh my God,
multiple times from people.
Oh my God!
Season, every year there was at least one or two of how close can
Don't.
we get to the animals
Don't.
in Alaska.
And I remember it was my it wasn't one of my lead agents at the time was talking about it. I overheard the conversation of it, and her response was, "You can get as close as you want, but I don't recommend it."
I mean,
And the response from the person was, "But what do you mean? They're not in cages?"
this
There's
is not
just
a zoo, lady. This
Yeah,
is not a zoo.
Alaska is not a zoo.
This is Alaska. This is the wilderness. It is not your traveling carnival.
Yeah.
Oh my God. How close can I get to so they probably thought that their tour that they'd booked was going to be in some kind of like safari like situation where you're in like a protected vehicle.
Or
Maybe.
Like that's
something.
probably what they were imagining.
That wins.
It is.
That wins right there.
That's what Takeda. Were you channeling me, Takeda? I was literally thinking this is a self-correcting problem.
I scared the cat.
That goes. Yeah, we scared the cats. Both cats are awake now.
It is. It's a
I'm sorry,
self-correcting.
Koi.
I was literally thinking that this is a self-correcting problem.
So, oh man, no, the questions from the Alaska cruise team were just insane. Like there was the one of how old does an elk have to be before it becomes a moose?
A deer.
No. It was the moose, and the response was they have to become the deer grows into the elk and then becomes the moose, and that's the smart ass answer that the tour person gave.
But here's the problem. His audience might not have realized that was a smarmy non-response.
I know. And then the one that my boss loves to tell, because she actually started off with the company in Alaska, is she was on the dock and had somebody ask her what sea level was.
It's kind of self-evident in the name.
It was how far above sea level are we? And I think her response was about a foot.
Oh, Jesus. We're on the ocean. Wait, she was on the cruise ship, is what you mean.
On the dock.
She was on the dock at the ocean.
At the ocean. And the question was, how far above sea level are we? And that's why she said about a foot.
I mean, in fairness, with climate change, sea level is rising.
It is.
So,
but if you're looking at the water right there,
sea level.
Bye, Koi.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah, those are. And then there was the one that I had one time that was somebody calling in for a teacher fair, because we used to do discounts for teachers. And this is way back in the day. But she was inquiring about a train or the cruise to Hawaii, but she wanted to take the train back.
Right?
From Hawaii.
From Hawaii.
She wanted to take the train from Hawaii back to California.
Well, I would like to do that too, hypothetically.
Right? It'd be a very fascinating train ride, but and this was a teacher. Obviously not a geography teacher.
Hawaii was islands. Geography isn't even taught anymore. Sadly, like it's not covered.
But still, this was like back in the early 2000s.
Wow, I would like to take the train back. Did she believe? I guess you probably don't know if someone explained to her that they couldn't, and she accepted that answer.
If I remember right, because again, this was like 20 plus years ago. I think I said, unfortunately, we cannot assist with train travel.
That's a very good response.
It is a very diplomatic.
True.
It's true and it's diplomatic. We don't handle train travel. No. Train to Hawaii. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a world that I would love to inhabit. Like you can take a high-speed train
Like
to
under the
Hawaii.
water, especially if it was like
Yeah,
a clear
that would
too,
be
that'd be fascinating.
yeah,
But
I have
that
not
would
heard
be
anything
beautiful.
about petting whales on Alaska cruises. No, I have not.
yeah,
Thankfully, I'm pretty sure that the tour team has probably heard
yeah,
questions
because
like
there is a
that.
Oh
specific
God,
excursion for
how
going
cool!
out to see the whales, and I'm sure
Right.
I have no doubt in my mind that they have heard that. Like I honestly would be shocked if they hadn't. Um, like I remember getting the questions of, can you guarantee that I'll see X
Yeah.
Oh
thing? Can you
no,
guarantee that I'll see whales?
no,
Can you
you
guarantee that
nope.
I'll see bears? And
Mm-mm.
it's like, no,
Mm-mm. Nope.
we
Nope.
can't
Nope.
guarantee
Nope.
nothing in that regard. That is Mother Nature.
Nope.
I
Nope.
want to
And
say
that's
they
why
actually started adding that to the website.
Yeah, I
they would
think they
have
did.
to. They would have to. I mean, if any of you have done whale watching, there's a
Yeah,
likelihood you will see no whales. You will
yeah,
pay $120+ a person, US, and you will see water. Like you'll have a nice boat tour of the
yeah.
ocean, but that's it.
It'll be
There is
lovely.
no guarantee, which is why I've never done a whale watching trip because I'm not going to gamble on getting to see whale. I mean, there's many
Like,
reasons I haven't done it, but
yeah,
one of them is I don't want to gamble on seeing whales.
yeah. Like I've seen, like living where we do in Seattle, I've seen whales just crossing on the ferry.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Yep.
it's like, well, that was a $25 trip as opposed to, because I drove on with the car, as opposed to, 120 per person. So
Much
a little
way
bit more
better,
worth it.
better gamble actually is to
Yeah.
just ride the ferry back and forth until
There
you
you
see
go.
one.
And if you're, walk-on passenger, then you only pay $6 one direction.
Yeah, right.
The
See,
other
So
that's
direction's
way
free.
better. Like
yeah,
that's
because the other
that's
direction's
like
free.
20 trips. That's 20
Yeah,
trips.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
20 chances to see whales instead of
yeah,
one for $120.
exactly.
Yeah.
And like where I grew up, the local orca pod used to actually go into the inlet where I grew up.
Yeah.
And so you could just go
Aw.
down to the beach and watch them.
Yeah, when we lived down in when we lived down south of Tacoma in DuPont, we were like right next to the sound, so it was
Mm,
like a 2-mile walk to the sound, and we would go down there and we would see porpoises and sea otters and
yep.
dolphins, and occasionally we did see some orca, and once we did see a much larger whale. So
Nice.
Cool.
yeah,
Yeah, there were
nice
humpbacks at one point. So
nice living
gray
in that
whales.
region. But yeah, so the travel tip is, guys, if you go on a whale watching tour, there is no guarantee that you're going to see any cetaceans whatsoever, and you
Yep.
don't get your money back.
Any
No
wildlife
refunds.
tour, there's no
Yeah.
way to know.
Though, okay,
No.
so kind of funny, kind of segue with that. The cruise that Soji and I took, there was a whale. It was a beached whale.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
through the strait between Vancouver Island and Canada proper. It was on the side,
Oh.
but it did offer a lot of wildlife viewing of bears and wolves and the predators that were coming down to the beach to
Partake.
partake.
Was the whale dead? I hope.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Very, very dead.
Okay. I mean,
Old dead.
I'm very sad that it was dead, but I'm
Yes.
glad
This
it was
is-
not
this is
alive for
nature.
that.
Yeah.
At
Okay.
least not when we went
Okay.
through.
Yeah.
And the hilarious thing is we got to see it going both ways.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
It was nature being nature,
It was nature
but
being nature, but we did get to see a wolf, which was cool.
That is cool. And their populations are rebounding, so
Yeah,
that's nice for us and nice for nature. But sheep farmers are definitely not terribly happy about that. So I can understand that there's a tension there.
Yeah.
The only dead thing. I have seen whales that's the other thing about cruising in general is if you're cruising through the right waters, you might actually get to see whales. We've seen all kinds of cetaceans out in the ocean, and that's really awesome because it's not extra. So it's part of your cruise fare is you might get to see cetaceans just as part of your transiting from one point to another. But one time we were on a Mediterranean cruise that stopped in Alexandria, Egypt. And we paid to take a private tour down to Cairo to go to the Giza Plateau. Freaking hell! Too much modern politics in my head.
Right.
To the Giza Plateau, and we that was part of like we had a private tour guide. It was 4 of us in a private van, and we were taking the highway down from Alexandria, and it was a big, like 2-3 lane in each direction, proper highway. So major thoroughfare, and right on the side of the road was a dead horse, just slowly inflating in the sunshine. And I don't know if it had been hit trying to cross the highway, or if it had been eating something and just keeled over and died, but no one seemed to care. It's a horse. Someone, and there was nothing. There were no predators, because this is a very, very civil, very highly populated part of Egypt. And it was just one of my most vivid memories of Egypt is a deceased equine slowly inflating in the hot desert, in the hot Egyptian sun.
At least it's dry heat.
It's Alexandria. It was not a dry heat. It was a humidity. That's up in the Delta.
No.
That's up in the Delta. It is not a dry heat.
No. Oh. Okay, yeah, that's way worse. I'm sorry. I thought I could make it better somehow, and no.
Yeah. 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 Oh my goodness. No, it was, but one of the things now, Egypt has changed a lot. That was right before, like 4 months before the Arab Spring. So Egypt has changed. Yeah. We missed it by a hair. And unfortunately our tour guide was actually a university student. So we fell out of touch. And so I don't know whatever happened to him, but he's the kind of student who would have been on the uprising side of the Arab Spring. So I often wonder what happened to him. And this is one of the things I love about cruising the world is it is a good way to meet with different kinds of people, interact with them on like an actual real level, and actually make friends. I'm still in contact with a lot of the people I've met in ports. Like I'm still in contact with 2 wonderful ladies we met in Kujadazi this past October. Their shop was on the local resident side of the commercial pedestrian zone, and we actually walked down there, and they saw us dressed in the kind of clothes we usually wear when we go out into port, and they flagged us down, and they treated us to Turkish coffee and pastries.
Nice.
Wow.
And we chatted for a long time. We connected on Instagram, and they've already reached out to me and said, when are you coming back?
Aw,
cool.
that's lovely.
So we're still in touch, right? So I have friends like that all over the world that I've met in the ports where these cruises have gone. So
well, it's
go on.
It's nice that we live in a world where you can, like, for all the quote unquote evils of technology, it's nice that we have the connections. We can make good connections with that.
Yeah. So. I mean, to be frank, social media is a tool.
Yeah.
That if it were only used for good, if it weren't for the evil algorithm that is fed by negativity and polemic, it really can connect us. I'm connected with people like you, for instance.
Yeah, exactly.
Because of social media, we could never have found each other without it, because I'm connected to Jerry. She's connected to you. She put you in contact with me, right? This is there is a beautiful way that social media could be harnessed to connect us instead of driving wedges between us.
Yeah.
But that's a topic for another.
Yes, exactly. Though she was the one that told me about the riverboat thing. That she's the one that happened to. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, Jerry, like Ryan and I is an avid traveler, so she also has hundreds of thousands of miles under her travel belt.
Yep.
Yeah.
I miss her.
I miss her too.
I know. Her beautiful house in France with all of its interesting issues.
Yeah.
I know.
So apparently they finally got all the water out.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah. Yeah, and so for those who don't know, a lot of Americans are retiring and immigrating to other countries, and so we have friends, we have mutual friends who went on vacation to France, started talking about how much they loved their time there and how it would be great to live there, and then within a week they bought a house. and they were packing up their home and shutting everything down in the US, and now they have their happy immigrant life in northwestern France, basically. So it can
It
happen.
might
It can.
be, yeah,
Happy for them, but man, I miss them.
yeah,
Yeah,
miss them a
yeah.
lot.
She's
I
She's
kind of an
my
definitely.
extra
sister,
mom.
so
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
she's a force of nature. Like she
Oh
really is,
yeah.
like the best kind of force of nature.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Uh,
yes,
and any group will be sadder with her absence, like a million
yeah,
percent.
yeah.
Hmm.
And she's
Uh,
so intelligent and witty, and she's just had such an interesting life, also. So
hmm
Hmm.
She really
yeah,
has, and she's someone who will sit and listen to you and just you are her main focus when she's
yeah,
listening to you, and she will understand and sympathize and be like the best mom slash big sister that you need in that moment.
yeah,
And the fact that she can do that for so many different people is incredible. And I'm
yeah.
gonna
She's
like make myself cry. Um,
think about her flooded basement.
yes, think about Strider chasing after all the sheep. That's her dog.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
that's right.
so
Yeah. Yeah. So there's,
yeah,
and this is the kind of thing that travel can do, is
yeah,
it can show us places that we never would have considered as potential homes. I mean,
yes, exactly.
we're traveling back to Thailand in May, and every time we go there, we think, if we found the right village, the right quiet village, we could happily live here. Like the Thai people are super friendly. We have friends there already. It's really inexpensive. Low violent crime, great food, great culture. Really just that we could live there. And every time we go there, we think we could move there now and afford to live there quite comfortably, actually.
Yeah.
So, these are good idea, bad idea, fairy. I don't know, but
Yes, you don't know. It's
Mhm.
like lists.
Definitely an
You know,
idea
right,
fairy.
yes, an
right. It's an
idea
idea
fairy. We'll just
fairy.
leave it in the idea fairy category for
It's
right now.
definitely an idea fairy. Well,
Yeah.
everyone, I would like to just remind you all, if you're watching the stream and you're enjoying, please double tap that screen and consider subscribing. For those who are wondering what this has been a cruising craziness conversation with two veterans of the cruising industry from the employee side of things, whereas I have 2 decades of experience on the passenger side of things. So we've been swapping war stories mostly. And I know that
Didn't even
sounds
get to
like
all the horror stories.
I
Mhm.
know, but
Too many
that's why
tangents.
Yeah.
that's why I think if you are both willing, then I think I would like to reprise this lovely live stream, because this has just been really delightful, and I really appreciate you sharing. Wow, those are the recliner and the kosher kitchen and the bears. And
The bears will just be forever. Like whenever somebody asks me about the craziest thing with cruising, I will always default to the bears and the story about the deer becoming the moose.
And the
That
Fabergé eggs, which we'll get
which we'll
into
oh
cover
yes,
again.
we'll
another
get
time.
next time.
Yeah.
We'll say yes. So if
Yeah.
you all want to hear about the Fabergé eggs in relation to a cruise ship, you'll have to tune in for our
Yeah.
future. So do either of you have any closing words of wisdom for those who might be interested in taking a cruise themselves?
Don't use Chat GPT. That is the best best advice I can give anyone for anything, not just cruising. Don't use Chat
Don't use it.
GPT, don't use Claude, don't use any of those.
Use your
Yeah.
own research.
Use your
Yep.
own research. Your
Past
brain
the
will
first page of Google.
First
yeah,
page. Yeah.
yeah,
More
go past
results.
the
Click
first
on more
page.
results.
Yeah. Don't use Google, use another search engine. You know, your
Or
brain will thank you in the long run.
call the
Um,
cruise line even.
call the
Like
cruise
Oh my
if
line.
you're not
God.
if there's one that's doing an
Call.
itinerary you like,
Yeah.
call them. Or some of them have a chat program, because I know we have a chat team.
We do have a
Yeah.
chat team, and it's not AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have an
There's
actual
actual people on
manned
the other
chat
side,
team.
even if we can't tell you what cruise line we work for.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, so it's, if you don't know something, you can ask, and you
yeah,
don't
Yes.
have to ask ChatGPT.
No,
And
you don't have to ask ChatGPT.
yeah, and don't ask in the forums. Do not ask in the
No.
forums.
And you
Don't
don't
do it.
have to do a travel agent.
Yep.
If it's your first time booking like international travel, especially, it might be a good idea. But again, research, and
Yeah,
you don't have
research.
to. All you have to do is call in and book, or
Yeah,
go online
yeah.
and book, or whatever.
Yeah, a lot of
But if
people
you
don't
are-
realize you can actually book cruises directly with
Yeah.
the cruise line.
but
can do that.
I push the travel agents because my job relies on it.
Yeah,
So travel
absolutely,
agents disappear, I don't
100%.
have a
Aren't you
job.
commissions?
Yeah.
Aren't you commissions? Are
I
you
load
commissions now?
commissions and contracts
Right,
into the system
right,
and
Yeah.
build agencies into the system. Yeah, so
Right.
And
Okay, so
I
use
take-
the cruise agents.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, the cruise agents keep me in my job.
But it's also one of those things. If you do decide to book directly with the cruise line, go to the cruise line's website. Don't
Yes.
type the cruise line into Google and
Mm-mm.
pick whatever result and then book through
Yeah.
that, because 9 times out of 10 you are booking through a third party.
Yep. And they'll have a clever name that makes it feel like it'll be
Yep.
hollandamerica.us or
Yep.
Cunard.
Cunard.
Cunard.ca
or whatever.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Carnival cruise booking dot
Right.
whatever.
Yeah, and it
Yeah,
turns out
yeah.
you're booking through Travelocity or something like that.
Yeah.
The number of phone calls that I personally got.
AG.
Yeah, AG says it's dinner
Oh,
time.
Yeah.
kitties,
but the number
man,
of phone
kitties.
calls I got where people were like, I need to do something on my booking. It's like, you booked with the travel agent. No, I typed your cruise line into Google and I booked
Yeah.
through there. Yeah, you're with Expedia or
Yeah.
Costco
Yep.
or one of those. You are not
Yeah.
directly with us.
Granted,
Yeah.
to be fair, we're just saying these names as examples. They are not
Yeah,
companies. that
they're
do
not
that.
companies. They're not
Yep.
real websites. We're just
Yeah,
this is just
These are just
this is like
off
model
of our
names.
head.
Yes.
Model names.
It's like
Exemplars.
saying Kleenex instead of tissue.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. These are, but there's the same problem for going to Thailand. There's a lot of websites for booking Thai train tickets, tickets for the trains in Thailand. They are not the official websites at all. And when you do a Google search, you will not be shown the official Thai Railways booking site at all. I had to find it through a forum, and yeah, I had to go
That's
to
not
Reddit.
helpful.
I had to go to Reddit or Quora or something like that to find it, because that's how jacked up the search results are on Google. People don't realize that net neutrality is a thing of the past, and
Yeah.
people can pay to have their search results boosted.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I don't even
So,
use
yeah.
Google anymore unless I absolutely have to.
Yep.
Yeah.
I use
What
DuckDuckGo.
DuckDuckGo is your
Yeah,
preferred?
because they have a noai.duckduckgo.com.
Oh,
and it
thank
takes
God.
the majority of the AI's results out.
Nice.
And they are currently at least committed to keeping that as an option.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, the reality is that we all decided, and by we, I mean like as a group, not necessarily individually. We as a group decided, 25 years ago, 30 years ago, that we didn't want to pay to use search engines. So,
You get what you pay for.
right, you get what you pay for. And so same thing with the social media platforms. We decided that we didn't want to pay a subscription fee to use Facebook or Instagram. Well, those things cost money to operate.
Yeah.
So
that's why you have all the ads.
yeah, they have to make money to pay their employees somehow.
Yeah.
It's just the devil's bargain we made.
Unless you're on the really particular social media app that Soji and I are on, that they have 12 employees and they can't seem to figure out how to make money using it.
Yeah.
Well,
we are very affectionate to our Blue Hell site, so.
Yep. Well, I'm going to take this monster and get him fed.
Yes.
And
This
I'm going to
is-
pay the kitty tax too and show off Koi, if she'll let me.
Hello. Beautiful
Say hi,
baby.
Say hi,
Beautiful baby. Oh,
Say
there
hi,
she is. Look at that beautiful baby. Oh, what a
She's so
pretty
upset.
kitty.
She's so angry.
Oh, because she wants food.
No,
And
she
she's
just
being
doesn't
held.
like being held.
Oh, right.
I'm the only one that can hold her. Like, if
Yeah.
Soji tried to hold her, she would be squirming and crying like crazy.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
So this is grudging. You're getting a grudging.
Yes.
I will let. Yeah. We have one of those. That's Chimi. He'll let me do it, but not graciously.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So this is Koi,
and this
Koi.
is AG.
Hello, little baby. Oh,
and she's named
cuties.
Koi. She's named Koi
Mhm.
because she's got patterns like a koi fish. So she's a
Yeah.
tricolor.
Okay, there we go. Now you can
Like
see
koi
more of
fish.
the babies.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay,
Yep.
or
And
not.
There she
done.
goes.
Or not.
She's done.
Yeah,
And done.
there are
And
Japanese
done.
bobtails, so not much there.
Yeah. Well, everyone, if you've been enjoying this cruising craziness live stream, then please double tap that screen and consider subscribing. And we will be back hopefully next week with more cruising craziness. And I have more live streaming coming up this week from here, the Travel Channel. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us today. And thank you both for being willing to share your amazingly hilarious experiences with us all.
We're glad they can be some good.
Your suffering has not been for naught.
Our suffering has not been in vain.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Okay. Until next time, everyone, may your